Okay. Good evening, everyone. I'd like to reconvene the meeting of the Mount Diablo Unified School District Board of Education for April 23rd, 2025. Let's do the land acknowledgement, which is item 6.1. We recognize that the Mount Diablo Unified School District sits on the territory of the Confederated Villages of the Lasan, the ancestral and unceded land of the Bay Miwok and Northern Yokot, the successors of the sovereign Verona Band of Contra Costa County. As members of the Mount Diablo Unified School District community, it is vitally important that we not only recognize the history of the land on which we learn, but also we recognize that the land we inhabit and learn on is the ancestral land of these people who are alive and flourishing members of the Mount Diablo Unified School District and the broader Bay Area communities today. Would you please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance? And to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. So we have the review and potential approval of the agenda. Did I skip something?
No.
Do you have any changes to the?
Yes, I do. I would like to pull item 14.8. We're going to cross that one off. And then I would like to adjust the agenda, and I would like to have item 11.2 go into 8.0.
I make a motion that we approve the agenda with those changes.
Second.
We have a motion by Trustee Mason with a second by Trustee Nzewi to amend the agenda by pulling item 14.8 and hearing 11.2 as 8.0. Trustee Ochoa, how do you vote?
Yes.
Thank you. That motion is adopted 5-0-0-0. Thank you. With support from Trustee Ochoa.
Great. So, Madam President, it is my honor and excitement to introduce our International Baccalaureate team. And Kelly Hoover, who assists with this, is going to kick us off and get us started. Microphone on. I know you're also our music person, so you got to know that.
The
microphone.
I should have out of practice. All right. Good evening, Board Trustees, Madam President, Dr. Clark. Thank you for having us tonight. We are here to share updates of our IB programs and celebrate some of the wonderful things that we've had happen this year. Our slides are coming up. Tonight, you'll hear from our 3 IB World schools, Ignacio Valley High School, Oak Grove Middle School, and Sequoia Elementary, as well as our IB candidate school, Monty Gardens Elementary. I can keep going and we'll just ad lib. So the next slide that I have is the list of all of our coordinators and our administrators for each of those sites. So if you ever want more information or you want to reach out and hear more about our IB programs, it's kind of a list of contacts for you to reach out to. And then our first school up tonight to share is Monty Gardens, our IB candidate school.
Welcome, Monty Gardens. It's good to see you. Good evening. We're so glad to be here tonight. I think the most exciting thing that Monty Gardens wants to talk about is after a very long journey, we got to our verification visit at the end of March. And so through that process, we've had a lot of learning to do, and the best representation of this learning is our students. They have learned so much over time. Yeah, thank you. They've learned so much over their time, and they're going to share a little bit about the IB visit. So that way you can understand what we went through for a 2-day process and about our experience getting up to this point. So it was very exciting. So tonight I'll have Sienna, Jack, Isabella, Derek, Isabel, and Sam speak tonight. So they're all here for you, and they're going to present to you.
Good evening, Dr. Clark and the Board of Trustees. Before we begin sharing about our IB verification visit, we wanted to introduce ourselves and to share how we became Monty Gardens IB ambassadors. Our teachers nominated us to represent the school population, and then Ms. Enzio shared that we became an IB ambassador. As in school IB ambassadors, we met with Miss Enzio, our head of school, Miss Annie, our school counselor, and Kelly Hoover, our IB coordinator, to prepare for the IB visit for 4 weeks.
During this preparation time, we worked to answer possible questions that the IB team might ask us and about our school and what made our school IB. Then Miss Tony, our noon supervisor, made these official ambassador badges. Tonight we wanted to share about our IB verification visit on March 24th and March 25th. The entire school started the IB verification visit by having our team members like IB Kelly and Lisa share a video about themselves and what would be happening during the IB visit.
During the IB team's visit, Mrs. Hoover carried the computer around our classrooms because they were on Zoom, and they asked us questions about what we were learning. They also talked to us about our units of study. Some class lessons were recorded ahead of time, and other lessons were live during the visit. The IB team also visited our special classes and interviewed us in music, library, and enrichment and support. They also saw our Social Superheroes Awards Assembly and our clap off to see our IB Learner Profiles program.
During the visit, IB team also met with a parent panel, all teachers, the head of school, and Ms. Hoover. They also met with the district administrators and one of your school board members. During the IB ambassador interview, the IB team asked each of us what learner profile described ourselves best. They also asked us about learning Spanish as our world language. They asked us how we are being internationally minded.
Many of us were nervous about the interview with the IB team, but we realized they were really nice and we were excited. It was a privilege to present. Miss Enzio told the ambassadors that they were sealing the deal because we were the last ones interviewed during the verification visit.
The verification was a success. However, we are still waiting to hear from the IB team if we are an authorized international baccalaureate world school. We will keep you posted about that news. Tonight, we want to thank Dr. Clark and the school board for your continued support of our Monty Gardens journey of becoming an IB school and for having us present here tonight.
Next up, we have Sequoia Elementary School.
Hello and good evening to everybody. We're so excited to be here to give you a little short infomercial about an upcoming event that you may want to attend at Sequoia Elementary. Actually, there's two. So listed on the slide, our multicultural event is this Friday, April 25th from 5 to 8 p.m. And that is an opportunity to come and see the wealth of diversity of our school. We have over 36 cultures and countries represented from our school community. And there are food samples. There's going to be a lion dance, all kinds of awesome stuff. So please come by anytime between 5 and 8 on Friday. But the highlight is on Friday, May 16th, we are doing our PYP exhibition, which is our fifth graders each picking a passion project amongst the 17 goals for sustainable development from the United Nations. And I brought with me 6 of our fifth graders who represent 2 of the 33 groups we have presenting on that day. And I'm going to invite them to come up here and say just a word or two about their project. So let's have one group come up first. You guys can introduce yourselves by name and then just say a couple things about your project.
Hi, thanks for having us out tonight. This is Kaya Rosales, Clem Love, and I'm Henry Jazieri.
And 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 our IB project is Life Below Water.
We organized a beach cleanup at Ocean Beach, San Francisco, sent out posters to all the staff and parents inviting them to come with us.
We did this because we wanted to help ocean life thrive in a safe, healthy, and especially clean environment.
We are also going to do a cleanup at the local creek that passes behind our school.
And that was our exhibition project.
How many people did you have come out to your beach cleanup? Do you have an estimate?
We had like 10 to 15.
Thank you.
Hi, thank you for having us. I'm Emily Appel. This is Declan McGinnis and Caleb Fox. Our sustainable development goal is responsible consumption and production. So far, we've had an interview with Susan Collette, who's a professor at San Francisco State. And next week, we're having a meeting with Brianne Zorn, the mayor of Martinez.
Next week, we are also thinking about doing a clothing swap starting April 30th through May 3rd. So next week.
We also have made a website about our topic that we have shared with some of our peers and the rest of our school.
Thank you guys so much for sharing that. And I just want to say, so part of being an IB school is teaching the children how to take civic action and to learn about a topic that they care about, and not only learn more about it, but also to take action in their community. So all the things that they talked about are ways that they're being civically engaged. They're well on the way to get their civic seal of engagement when they're in high school, right? So we just wanted to share that. And we hope you can come out and hear from them as well as the other groups. We have 33 groups. So there's lots of cool action going on and lots of interesting projects. And we'd love to have you there. And it's from 9 to 10:15 on May 16th at Sequoia Elementary. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next up is our team from Oak Grove.
Good evening, Superintendent Dr. Clark, members of the board and cabinet. I'm excited to be here, and members of our school site council that'll share a little bit about their experience with IB at Oak Grove. But next, I want to invite my program specialist to introduce herself.
Thank you, Dr. Ramos. Hello, board. This has really been an exciting year, a building year for us. Maybe not as glamorous, but really fulfilling, meaningful work as we collaborate and dig into the real work of walking the IB walk and figuring out how to embed it in Oak Grove culture in a lasting and authentic way. We're slowly and surely building our IB muscle throughout the Oak Grove community. The majority of the work that we've done this year has really centered around designing professional development opportunities for staff that help us weave together the work of IB, AVID, TNTP, the ELD framework, and more, honing the staff skills to provide instruction in a way that's student-centered, inquiry-based, and aligns to best practices. We're also working on building student engagement, student voice, and awareness of the IB approach, integrating as many opportunities as possible to promote inclusivity, collaboration, and global mindedness in the student experience at Oak Grove. It didn't make it on the slides there, but we do have our 8th grade community project presentations that are happening during the day, all day on May 22nd, Thursday. So look for an invite. And that will be talked about a little bit by some of our students. So first we have Amia.
Hi. Some approaches to learning that I've personally developed over the last year is constructivism. Constructivism. I have developed this because our teachers really push us to ask questions and explore.
Hi everyone, my name is Ume Nafisa. Starting at OGMS as a new student from another country was one of the toughest and challenging I've ever faced. I didn't know the language. I was feeling like out of place and over, out of patience and going through so many things. I used like knowledge and efforts and kind support of those around me, like feeling my school site council people, like member. Um, they helped me turn it into growth. I found my voice, and more importantly, I found the community that showed me how meaningful can be, how can be the communication can be. As a Muslim student, I feel accepted and respect. OGMS taught me the importance of kindness, open-mindedness, and understanding. Core IB value I'll carry with me as I keep learning and growing. Because I got to experience kindness and open-mindedness at OGMS, I wanted to make sure that other students had the same experience. That's why I chose to focus my 8th grade IB community project on this. Going into 6th grade classroom to teach a lesson about belonging and intercultural understanding to make sure that those values continue here after I graduate. In this way, I could be more sure that O Group changed me for my better, and I changed them for their better. I truly love being at OGMS. It was not only a place where I learned and grew, but a place where I made fun, beautiful memories that I'll never forget. Thank you.
And next, Ignacio Valley High School.
Good evening, Superintendent Dr. Clark and members of the board. Thank you for the opportunity to highlight the incredible students and staff behind our growing IB program at Ignacio Valley High School. In addition to the program's continued growth, we're especially proud of the student leadership and voice at the heart of tonight's presentation. Our IB coordinators and vice principal will briefly introduce themselves, and then 3 of our outstanding IB students will lead the presentation. At this time, I'll turn it over to our IB team to begin introductions.
Good evening, Carissa Weintraub. I'm Vice Principal at Ignacio Valley High School.
Hi, board members and trustee. My name is Tabitha Box, and I'm an IB coordinator here at YVHS.
Good evening. I'm Julia Flanagan Schmidt, and I'm the other IB coordinator at Ignacio Valley High School. We want to turn this over to 3 of our amazing students who are going to talk about their experiences.
Hi, thank you for listening. And my name is Christopher Rios, and I will be giving you a brief summary about IB at YV. I think IB at YV is really great because there's a lot of classes to cover every single necessary subject at the school with some electives, including our psychology and our art classes. And I also like how there is a huge variety of teachers between our IB program, giving us about 18 total teachers in the program. And our program is only expanding from here as there has been a 50% increase and a 20% growth in full diploma students, which I think is really great. And I also really like IB for the voice and the power that it has given me and the confidence that I've gained from this program. And we also have a growing math pathway between our two math classes that we have for IB, between AA and AI, that I think is really great.
Hello, my name is Michael Richnowski, and I will be talking about why IB is worth it. So first off, I just want to say that YV, Ignacio Valley, is the only IB school in the county. All right, so it's super cool that I don't know, that fact is super cool to me. So first off, IB is worth it because we have smaller classes, which means a tighter community, and it's easier to access teachers. Secondly, we have excellent teachers. So because we are an international organization, we have like the top, almost like the top teachers in the world. Um, and then we also get a GPA boost. So if we have a I don't know, a B, then we can also will be bumped up to an A, and the highest GPA we can actually, or we can get more than a 5.5 GPA, and then we can also earn college class or college credits doing those classes if we meet a certain if we get a 4 out of 7 on our IB exams. And yeah, I'm gonna pass it on to Erica.
Hi, good evening. My name is Erica. I know that might have seemed like a lot, but IB can be quite fun. So here at YV, we have things called field days, which is like a community building time for us as IB students to join together and um, like learn new things about each other and communicate. I mean, build together as a community. Um, a lot of like fun things that we can also do is like we have a lot of friends. I mean, we have a lot of classes with our friends, and we have a lot of chill teachers that uh, really understand our commitment to this program. Um, and we also get a lot of freedom. We have a lot of passion projects, and we get to pursue our own interests and learn to be independent. Um, and yeah, I'm so sorry.
In the middle right picture, because that is your psychology teacher.
What do you mean?
Who's that other teacher in there?
Oh, that's Mr. Watts. He was there because this was taken in my class, and we were working on our IA, and there was this problem with the statistics in our research, and Mr. Watts agreed to help us for free, and yeah, we learned a lot during that time.
Can you
And he
explain
got us
what
donuts.
an IA is for people who don't know?
An IA is essentially just a kind of like a project that we have time to do in class, but also outside of class. And a lot of it is something that we're interested in. Like in my history class, I got to do research on something that I'm very passionate about, and that I really enjoy doing that research. And I found a lot of free time to really pursue into that work I was doing. So yeah. What was my work? Um, I was researching fashion, which is something I really want to do, and I learned a lot of new things about um, not only myself but also about like the stuff that I'm really passionate about, and I think Ivy really helped me with that in that research too.
Thank you, everyone. One of the new things that we did at YV this year is we co-taught some classes. So we cross-curriculared a psychology class with a statistics teacher and the psychology teacher. And so we're trying to build a community and cross-curricular items for our students. So thank you for your time, and I hope you have a good night.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I just want to say thank you so much to all of the students who presented and all of the staff who presented about IB tonight. It's so exciting to see how much it's growing in all across our district and community. I'm a parent of an IB diploma graduate who's now at Georgetown University in the School of Foreign Service. So you've been an inspiration to many, many students, and the sky's the limit as far as where they can go from there. And I'm very excited to see in your presentation or in your slides about the addition of the higher level math, because I know that's something that students were interested in but didn't have access to previously. And so thank you for all of your work on making that possible. I think adding higher level math and also integrating math with other subjects so that people see the connections and the reasons to study math is really incredible. And I also want to say thank you for the flyers, because we oftentimes I'm out in the community and I'll mention International Baccalaureate and people will say, well, what is that? And I will say, oh my gosh, you don't know that we have the only IB school in the whole Contra Costa County? And they'll say, what is that? And so thank you. Let's continue to get the word out. There are a lot more people out there that are interested in this that just don't know about it. And the sooner that they can know about it to be able to transfer into our district and to Ignacio Valley High School, the better. Thank you.
So I want to thank you all for coming. I put you first on the agenda so you can go home and do homework, and the parents who were so generous in bringing their students here. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Welcome. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Oh, we got those comments? Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yes, I will. Give me a minute. Right. So at this point in time, I will report out on the action taken in closed session because we have some renumbering of the items. Please be patient with me while I do the report out. Item 7.2, negotiations. The board received information from our negotiations team. For item 7.3, discipline, dismissal, release, or reassignment of public employees, there were 2 instances in a closed session by a vote of 5-0 with no abstentions. The board took action to approve the resignation of 1 employee per the separation agreement. And then in closed session, the board considered the reassignment of 1 principal under Education Code 44951 and voted by a vote of 5 in favor and no one against, to direct the district to send notice that this person will be reassigned to a position for which they are credentialed at the end of the 24-25 school year. Then we have conference with legal counsel, existing litigation. That is now 7.4 in the case of Roxanne Molina versus Bay Area Kids Fest, Mount Diablo Unified School District et al. There is nothing to report. And regarding the matter of MF versus Mount Diablo Unified School District, the Office of Administrative Hearings, case number 2025-010141. The board approved a settlement up to the stipulated amount according to the settlement term, and the vote was 5-0 in the matter. 7.5. There is nothing to report out. 7.6 is the request for a continuance. For student 02-24, 25, the board approved the request for a second postponement for student 02-25, and the vote was 5-0-0-0. And then 7.6, I'm sorry. Yes, the subpoenas is next. The board approved a request for subpoenas. I'm sorry, the board did not approve the request for subpoenas for student 02-25, and the vote on that matter was a 5-0-0-0 vote. And then 7.8, the board received information, and a 7.9, information was provided to the trustees regarding the evaluation process. We are ready for public comment. Do we have cards from our members of our public? It's always exciting when the students are here, isn't it? So we have 9 cards. The public may address the board regarding any item not on the agenda. Public comment will also be allowed on each specific agenda item prior to the board action thereon. Speakers must submit a speaker's card to the board secretary. And if there are multiple speakers on one subject, the public comment period may be moved to the end of the meeting. Speakers are not allowed to yield their time. The first speaker is Christian Charon. Please correct my pronunciation.
All right. Good afternoon, Mount Diablo School Board. My name is Christian, and I'm the proud parent of our daughter. Her name is Janessa Chacon. She's in 5th grade at Bancroft Middle School. She's in the dual immersion program. And I'm here to talk about just the fact that she was part of this program going back to 2018. She interviewed Moore Lane for the dual immersion program. She speaks both English and Spanish, and we wanted to keep her going that pathway. Back in 2018, we were informed at that time that when she got in that she would be able to continue on with her cohorts from Bancroft Middle School into Foothill. So we fast forward, November 2024, we received an email saying, would you like to continue on? So we put down, yes, let's keep her going so she can stay with her cohorts, her class. It's been hard for her to make friends. She was always kind of a little bit shy, especially with COVID. She was at home for about 1.5 years. So anyways, she's made a lot of friends, and we submitted it. We were denied. So fine, I went back and we did the appeal as stated. We made the appeal, and then we just got the letter a couple weeks ago saying that it's been denied, and for whatever reasons, basically don't bother us. There's no other way to appeal it. So anyways, I guess my question was, why even have it on there? I think only one child got in. The only reason I know that is because I visited the Moore Lane this past Friday. And I talked to some of the people in the office, and no, I did not yell at anybody, because that's one of the things that they told me, that everyone yells, and I did not yell at anybody. So I just want to make sure that we're on, we're still on amicable. So I didn't yell at anybody. I just talked to a couple people there, and they told me that I could talk to the director, but by email or they would send me a message. So I said, I'll just do it myself. So I sent Felicia Stuckey-Smith a voicemail, but the voicemail leads to nowhere. So I then decided, well, let me write her a letter. I found her email online because it was nowhere to be found. So I sent her the email saying, hey, I need you to, let her be part of her cohort. It's been 6 years of her life. It's the longest portion of her life with these kids. Middle school is 3 years, and high school is 4 years, if I don't do my math correctly. So it's kind of a big deal. She's been one of the kids that actually helped all the kids out in school, because she actually speaks Spanish and English fluently. A lot of the kids do not speak in the program because a lot of them came in later, but she's actually the one that helps a lot of the kids out. And we got letters from the teachers saying the reasons why she should be admitted to the school, because she's actually been one of the good kids to have in the class for the class as well. So anyways, I sent a letter yesterday again to Felicia, but I never got a response back. And so I'm basically kind of like, at this point, like, okay, what do I do? So at this point, just to summarize it, she's not being permitted to continue on with her cohorts, right? 6 years, kindergarten to 5th grade. She's not, and I'm not going to say she's deserving, because she's actually not. She's actually worked hard for it. So that's one of the things I want to make sure you all know, that my kid is not somebody that's like, hey, she's special. She's not. She actually works really hard for everything she does, and she's actually a really good kid. So anyways, last 2 things. To summarize it, she's not being permitted to continue with the cohorts. That's fine. Number 2, if that's the case, then let us release her from Mount Diablo Unified School District and let her go to another school district that we have access to through a family member in Walnut Creek. And I was told you can't do that because, of course, there's only one request per year. So which I think is kind of a draconian law that's set up because it stops you from, going forward. So my request here is just to let you guys know is like, hey, I would love to her to continue on with the Full Tail. And if not, just release her. I'll figure it out and go to another school district and get her education. So I don't know if you have any other questions. Okay, I appreciate it.
The next speaker is Demius Johnson III.
Greetings, board members. Superintendent Dr. Clark. As mentioned, my name is Demlis Johnson III, and I serve as the Associate Director of External Affairs for Rocket Ship Public Schools. And just wanted to drop in and say personally, thank you to Dr. Superintendent Clark, as well as to Melanie Koslow for their continued partnership. And we hope to see you all at some of our end of the year events taking place. Next month, we have our neurodiversity celebration. And in the following month, we have our field day. Specific details are in your inbox. And also, please feel free anytime to drop by. We're over at 2351 Olivera Road. Always happy to have you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for attending.
I'm happy you came, Dimlis, because I thought there can't be two people with that name. It's got to be my friend.
Our next speaker is Terry Foglazil.
Good evening. Hello. My name is Terry Felizzo. I am a part-time credentialed ESL instructor at Mount Diablo Education. I have been here for 5 years. I would like to start off by thanking the board for their resolution of support and designating April 6th through 12th as Adult Education Week. We are here to ask for inclusion in the Mount Diablo Education Association. Our school is unable to respond to the needs of our community due to extremely long wait lists since we have trouble recruiting and retaining teachers. For the last 2.5 years, I've compiled a list of wages for 82 schools within California, including our consortium. Sadly, we are last on the list. We have been told that we are comparing apples and oranges. Logically, this isn't possible since the list includes schools of all sizes encompassing urban, suburban, and rural areas. Many schools have received the cost of living adjustments and raises. Our school received 1 COLA in 2023, the only one to be passed on to us. An 8.22% increase was designated to adult education in 2024. K through 12 received it, but we did not. Also, there hasn't been a raise during my 5 years here. I am currently teaching at another adult ed school in our consortium to supplement the low wages I receive in my current position. I love our students, and we have an amazing, effective program that has a far-reaching impact throughout our community and beyond. As the daughter of a first-generation American, I believe strongly in the power of education in changing the lives of immigrants. My colleagues have more to add regarding the incredible program at Mount Diablo. I ask you to vote in favor of our petition to join Medea. Thank you. I have the
Thank you. Our next speaker is Elisa Steckel. Thank you. Sorry.
You're not alone. First, again, thank you all for your recognition resolution. You know, recognition means a lot. My name, as you said, is Elsa Steckel, and I am a credentialed part-time ESL teacher at Loma Vista, where I've been for 10 years. Many of us, all of us are credentialed, many of us have advanced degrees. As you've heard, and as you'll see when you look at the handouts, our wages are dramatically below those of our peers in other districts. And as Terry mentioned, this situation has really led to problems with several young, talented, bright, energetic teachers either leaving quickly because they can't survive on the salary or just not being interested in teaching at our school at all. All the other members of Mount Diablo Adult Ed, the clerical staff, the janitors, the bus drivers, they're already part of a union. Admin has their own association and they get Me Too raises, I think, when K-12 instructors get a raise. Only the adult ed instructors are left out of raises and COLA adjustments. We teach in a variety of programs, ESL, healthcare training, adults with disabilities, high school diploma and equivalency programs, computer technology, job preparation, and citizenship classes that really enable our students to become productive members of the local community. Many of our students go on to work in local restaurants, businesses, health organizations. Some of my ESL students have gone into our healthcare training programs to become CNAs or medical assistants. Some have completed our computer tech and admin assistant programs and found jobs in local nonprofits or for-profit organizations. Locally, a lot of the EMTs that respond to emergencies in Contra Costa come from the really great EMT program that we have. On a personal note, the dental assistant in my dentist's office was trained at our school. I have a pile of papers that I'm not going to hand out to you. This is a pile of letters, cards, little scraps of paper from students to me about how grateful they are and how meaningful our programs have been to them. I'm not alone. Every single one of our teachers has appreciation from the students. Many of our students have children in the K-12 system, so there's a ripple effect to our work. As parents gain language skills and job skills, the children benefit and the whole community benefits. In the specific programs I mentioned above, we've served 3,731 students so far this year and 3,807 students last year. Now, I think you'll see it on the papers that we handed out. Mount Diablo Adult Education receives the largest state CAPE funding and serves the largest student population in our Contra Costa Adult Ed Consortium, yet we are the lowest paid instructors. Our attempts to date to raise our wages have not been fruitful, and so here we are, asking you to vote in favor of our petition to join the union so we can secure higher pay, get paid prep time, and get stipends for advanced degrees, and also so we can continue to really support and be part of this Mount Diablo community. Thank you.
Thank you. The next speaker is Amanda Zakatis.
Good evening, trustees and Dr. Clark. My name is Amanda Sakach, and I teach family literacy ESL classes for Mount Diablo Adult Education. Although I'm a member of the Pleasant Hill City Council, I'm speaking tonight in a private capacity as a teacher for Mount Diablo since 2012. I hold certificates in adult education, teaching English to speakers of other languages, and a master's degree in TESOL from St. Mary's. As this board stated in its proclamation proclaiming April 6th through 12th Adult Education Week, quote, the impact of adult education is felt across generations, particularly for early childhood learners. I am part of the team of early childhood educators at Mount Diablo. I'm passionate about teaching English to all the fantastic immigrant parents of preschoolers in our culturally diverse program. Our free program exists at Cambridge, Meadow Homes, and Loma Vista. The parents learn English through life skills and school readiness lessons, and the children also learn important pre-literacy, science, and social skills. Principals at schools where we operate have told us how prepared our preschoolers are for TK and kindergarten. I love my job wholeheartedly, but it's hard to continue working for a school where I don't feel valued. The last time we received a pay increase was 2022, following the difficult COVID period of teaching online. I'm at the highest step, and my step 4 salary went from $38.24 an hour to $41.36 an hour. It has stayed frozen at that level for the last 3 years. Using the inflation calculator at bls.gov, my current salary should be a minimum of $44.50 an hour just to equal my 2022 salary adjusted for inflation. That's without an increase in salary for merit. To put it simply, I have taken a pay cut for the last 3 years. Additionally, unlike other adult schools in the area, we receive no vacation pay and no prep time. During the last few years, I've seen numerous high-quality teachers depart for other schools who pay better salaries. I personally went from full-time to part-time at Mount Diablo because I can tutor in the afternoon and evening and make more money than teaching additional classes. Instead of being a leader, Mount Diablo is at the bottom of a list of more than 80 schools for adult education pay. Our director has not acted on our behalf to ask the board for raises. We are therefore joining together to collectively bargain for better working conditions, and we ask the board to show its commitment to adult education by approving our petition to join Medea at your next meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. The next speaker is Maureen Antone.
Dr. Clark, school board members. My name is Maureen Anton, and I just want to thank you very much for your letter that you wrote during Adult Education Week. We really appreciated all the points you delineated about adult education and how we serve our community. So thank you. I'm here actually to read a letter from a colleague, Sue Ann McGovern, who's working tonight. And I've been working for Mount Diablo for 10 years, and she's been working a little bit longer. So I would like to read her letter. Good evening, members of the board. As an adult ESL teacher at Mount Diablo Adult Education, I've had the privilege of working with students who are newcomers to this country, many of whom arrive with little English, but with big hopes and dreams. I've taught English, but also vital job skills that help students support their families, gain independence, and become active members of our community. I've also worked in partnership with Monument Impact, an incredible organization that supports immigrant and low-income families. Together, we help students navigate not only the classroom, but the larger systems around employment, housing, and health, things essential to building stable, meaningful lives. This is life-changing work, but it is not valued the way it should be. Adult educators at Mount Diablo are the lowest paid in the entire state of California. Despite our qualifications, experience, and the deep impact we have, we continue to work without the protection and advocacy we deserve. That's why union representation is so important. A union gives us a voice to advocate for fair pay, professional respect, and working conditions that allow us to give our best to our students. When educators feel secure, supported, and respected, we can show up more fully, not just as teachers, but as mentors, role models, and advocates. Union protection isn't just about us, it's about building a stronger, more stable learning environment for our students, and they deserve that. Thank you.
Thank you for your presentation. Wendy Okota is the next speaker.
Hi, good evening. My name is Wendy Okada. I'm a part-time ESL teacher, formerly full-time for beginning low and literacy instructor with Mount Diablo Adult Education. First, I want to thank the board for recognizing the value of adult education to our community. I know the power of adult ESL education not only as a teacher, but also as the daughter of immigrant parents and the granddaughter of refugees. I've seen firsthand what it means to rebuild in a new place and start over from scratch. That lived experience is what fuels my deep commitment to this work. I hold 2 master's degrees. I'm a credentialed ESL teacher and a TESOL specialist, and I speak multiple languages. I'm trilingual. Throughout my career, I've primarily worked with literacy level adult learners, students who often arrived in the US with little or no formal education. Many had never held a pencil or written their name before stepping into my classroom. They never had that opportunity up until now. And I've loved every moment. It is an honor and a joy to be their teacher. Teaching ESL, especially at the literacy level, is about so much more than instruction. It's about advocacy and showing up as a steady, compassionate guide for students navigating unfamiliar and an occasionally hostile world. It's paperwork, interpretation, trauma-informed care, and family outreach. This work is vital, it's meaningful, and it matters deeply. Unfortunately, our low wages as adult educators in Mount Diablo have had a direct impact on all of our programs. Dedicated educators such as myself are unable to remain full-time in this field, and it's not just a personal loss. It's a loss for our programs, our students, and ultimately, and most importantly, our communities. That's why I asked the board to support our petition to join Medea to support our adult school educators. Together, we can build a stronger, more equitable foundation for adult ESL education, one that honors both the students and the educators who served them. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Next speaker is Joe Anton. Welcome.
Good evening, board members. My name is Joe Anton, and I'm a registered nurse. I work in a local hospital in the cardiovascular center. I am also a former Mount Diablo adult education student. Yes, my story. Thank you for letting me share my story. I immigrated to the United States many years ago, and my first experience with education was Loma Vista. I landed in Loma Vista, and here I am now talking to you guys. But when I first came, I couldn't even say hi. I couldn't even say hello without start sweating. Just like right now, probably I'm start sweating. No, really. It was very hard for me to be an adult and thinking that I'm gonna learn another language. But I remember my teachers. I remember the school and all the passion that they put into just adult students, trying to help us out to learn the language. I'm glad that they did. And I'm happy that I went to that school because the teacher helped me to develop, to be a member of this society, this culture, this American culture. I actually, right now I'm working on a cardiovascular unit in a local hospital, and I used to run a cardiovascular unit with many nurses, many patients, and every time I saw a new nurse coming up, I treat them like the way my teacher treated me. We try to teach them the best I can, and I guess you guys and I'm a living proof of what adult education can do for people like me, immigrants like me. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. Our next speaker is Peter Fuller. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Clark, and members of the Board of Trustees. My name is Peter Fuller. I am a retired professor of mathematics. You know the adage that if you see something wrong, if you don't rail against it, then you're complicit in it. I came tonight to speak on behalf of a teacher at Sequoia Elementary, not elementary, sorry, middle school, named of Andrew Tong. My son went to Sequoia Elementary and transferred into Sequoia Middle School. He had Mr. Tong for like the 2-week class to introduce him to middle school. Uh, Mr. Tong has been a tremendous influence in my son's life. In last year, when I went to pick him up, I could always find him in Mr. Tong's classroom. Mr. Tong I spoke to one of my son's friends, and his friend said, well, he speaks middle schooler. I have not found anyone who just does not like Mr. Tong. There was a rumor, which has been confirmed by Mr. Tong, that he's being pushed out of his job. I'm here to rail against it. If I had half of the relationship with my students as Mr. Tong has with his, I would be very blessed. I'm asking you not to let Mr. Tong, not to let this valuable asset out of your hands. Keep Andrew Tong. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your comments. That concludes the public comment for this evening. The next item is communications. District organizations, a regular person, a single spokesperson of each recognized district organization may make a brief presentation. Items are limited to those which are informational. And we have two speakers tonight. The first is Mark Jones. Mr. Jones, welcome.
Feels like it's been a minute since I've been up here, so good to see everybody. Good evening, Dr. Clark, board members. Since Ed and I were not able to be here last week, we were actually on a flight. Wanted to speak to an item that came up in last week's meeting, and really wanted to take a moment to talk about the skilled trades MOU that was recently approved by the board. On behalf of Teamsters 856, we appreciate your support on this agreement. These increases were long overdue and righteous for classifications that face serious recruitment and retention challenges. It was an important step when the district brought in FICMAT over 2 years ago to conduct an independent review of maintenance and operations. That report confirmed to us and the public what our members have been saying for years, that this was a systemic problem and they've been working short-staffed, spinning their wheels. From there, we bargained that a compensation study be performed which highlighted one of the symptoms of the problem and where adjustments were most needed. Skilled trades has been plagued by high vacancy rates, and these increases rightfully address a long-standing problem that has impacted both staff and services. As part of this process, we were able to update 15 skilled trades job descriptions that were badly out of date. This was no easy lift. We want to especially recognize Melanie Coslow and her due diligence and care she brought to that work. Listening to her employees, our members, and collaborating with them tediously to get them right. We also thank Kim Biana, Ryan Sheehy, Leonie Medina Estrada, and Adrian Vargas for their role in finalizing this agreement and recognizing the need for these adjustments. We want to acknowledge and thank our negotiations team and the table throughout this, at the table throughout this process. Ken Olson, Brett Peeney, and Jojo Miguel. Their voice, experience, and commitment were critical in reaching this outcome. Most of all, we thank our members, the employees of this district who continue to show up day after day, keeping these schools running because they take pride in their work and in serving the students and fellow staff. We're happy that their work is properly being recognized. This agreement and others like it represent meaningful progress. We appreciate the shared commitment that brought us here, and although the work's not done, we look forward to continuing to work together. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mark, to you and your team for your collaboration and hard work as well. Thanks, Teamsters.
Our next speaker is Linda Ortega. Welcome.
Good evening, trustees, Dr. Clark, members of the audience. I just want to say I'm glad they had a positive outcome. Two, I expect a perfect attendance from you all because I've been here every meeting. Anyways, I just thought I'd throw that out there. First, I want to thank the MDUSD adult educators for attending tonight's school board meeting and to share their desire to join a union and be represented by Medea. Thank you for attending. I appreciate those words. Yes, as your president, as the president of Medea, I would welcome them to our bargaining unit, and I would hope you would approve, the trustees would approve their request. Now, regarding negotiations, I do want to thank both parties for all the long hours they spent in negotiations and preparing for the meetings. I know that we've been together for many of these meetings. I know how exhausted both parties are. This is the work that we do. Thank you to our Medea bargaining team, those who are listening, I know you are, and to our Medea members also who are listening, who have been waiting for a positive outcome. Unfortunately, the two parties were not able to TA a contract today. Therefore, Medea has declared an impasse. It is unfortunate that the district continued to deny many of our asks at the table, as many articles did not have a cost associated to them. Our Medea Executive Board has spent many hours reviewing our original proposals and have made many changes so that we can find some common ground. I am very disappointed that the district did not feel the same way. From what was shared with me, the common response from the district was the words status quo. This language does not support the needs of our students and the working conditions of our educators. As always, I am available to any trustee, and Dr. Clark, thank you for keeping your door open to me. I appreciate that. For coffee or a chat, if any of you would like to discuss this further. Thank you.
Thank you. We are now ready to move on to item 10, recognition and resolutions. Item 10.1 is the resolution 24-15-59 in support of National Foster Care Month. Dr. Clark?
Thank you, President Mayo. I appreciate that. I just want to, I want to acknowledge these resolutions that the board regularly votes on and brings forward. It really tells our community, tells our students, tells our staffs that we support all who come through our doors. So first one I have for you tonight is resolution 24/25-59 in support of National Foster Care Month. Whereas all children deserve a safe, loving, and permanent home, and the primary goal for the foster care system is to ensure the safety and well-being of children while working to provide a safe, loving, and permanent home for each child. Whereas there are approximately 437,000 children living in foster care nationally, more than 60,000 in the foster care system in California in 2024, and currently we have 65 students in MDUSD in foster care. So whereas May is designated as Foster Care Month to provide an opportunity to acknowledge the accomplishments of the child welfare workforce, foster parents, advocacy community, mentors, and educators for the positive impact they have on the lives of foster youth. So therefore, be it resolved that the Mount Diablo Unified School District Board of Education recognizes National Foster Care Month as an opportunity to raise awareness about the challenges that children face in the foster care system. Madam President, this resolution is in the hands of the board.
I'd like to make a motion to approve Resolution 24-2559 in support of National Foster Care Month.
Second that.
So we have a motion made by Trustee Mason with a second by Trustee McDougall. Any further discussion?
I just want to thank our SOAR team and all of our staff and Dr. Clark for putting a focus on this to make sure that all of us are looking for who are our foster youth in our schools. How can we best support them? How can we best build those deeper relationships with them and anyone in their network who's supporting them? So thank you all.
Yes, and I want to acknowledge the number of 60,000 has been a number that I've heard for many years, starting with my work in PTA a number of years ago. And that there, in my own community, there were several families who were foster parents, and it was a blessing for our entire community. So, Trustee Ochoa, how do you vote?
Yes.
Thank you. The resolution for in support of National Foster Care Month is adopted on a 5-0-0-0 vote with the support of Trustee Ochoa. Dr. Clark.
Yes, Madam President, I speak often about our school meals programs and the many students that they touch. I also just want to thank the state of California for providing free meals to all students, regardless of financial need. We've seen tremendous increases to students accessing healthy, nutritious meals at our campus because of that. So with that said, I have Resolution 24/25-60, which is School Lunch Hero Day. So whereas nutritious meals at school are an essential part of the school day, and whereas the staff of the Mount Diablo Unified School District Food and Nutrition Services, and they're all Teamster members, and so should have thanked Mark Jones while he was here, nourishes students for academic success every day. Whereas the day of Friday, May 2nd, 2025 is recognized as School Lunch Hero Day. And now, therefore, be it resolved that the Mount Diablo Unified School District Governing Board expresses deep appreciation to these valuable employees and commends their tremendous work on behalf of children and encourages all to celebrate nutrition professionals and their one-of-a-kind superpowers. Madam President, this item is now in the hands of the board.
I'll make the motion in a second, but I just want to say that it's a misnomer. It's School Lunch Hero, but luckily, especially in California, it's school breakfast, school lunch, school snack and supper, and summer meals. And we take it for granted. I feel so good that at least here in our district and throughout California, we do everything we can to make sure at least as long as children are in our care, they are not hungry. But we cannot take it for granted, as that is not a value that all of us hold in this country, and in fact, food and the right to not be hungry is under attack. With that, I move to approve Resolution 24/25-60 in recognition of School Lunch Hero Day.
Second.
So we have a motion by Trustee Nzewi with a second by Trustee Cound regarding the school, pardon me, recognition of School Lunch Hero Day. Further discussion?
I just want to say it was really fun for me as a parent on a school campus to recognize our food service workers. Sometimes they get forgotten when you're doing people's doors or, recognizing other staff on campus. So don't forget them. It's a really great day to be able to point them out. And also just thank you to the leadership of our district for better supporting our food service workers and improving all of the food that we're able to provide to our students in a much healthier way. So very exciting work being done in our district.
Trustee Ochoa, how do you vote?
Yes.
Thank you. So jumping too quickly. So the resolution on recognition of School Lunch Hero Day is adopted on a 5-0-0-0 vote with support from our student trustee Ochoa. Dr. Clark.
Yes, Madam President. One of the organizations that I serve, we're also partnered with another organization called CAPL, and that is the California Association of Asian and Pacifica Leaders in Education. And I've learned so much about the Asian American Pacific Islander experience in California public education. So tonight, I am extremely proud to bring forward this resolution, Resolution 24/25-61, in recognition of May as Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month. And I have a bunch of things highlighted, but the thing that isn't highlighted are all the different 20 distinct Asian American identities. And so I'm going to read those instead. So the U.S. Whereas the U.S. Census Bureau reports over 20 distinct Asian American and over 30 distinct NHPI, which is Native Hawaiian and other Pacific Islander ethnic groups, including Asian Indian, Bengali, Burmese, Cambodian, Chinese, Filipino, Guatemalan, Hawaiian, Hmong, Indonesian, Japanese, Korean, Lao, Milan, Okinawan, Pakistani, Samoan, Thai, Vietnamese, and others. And so whereas in the Mount Diablo Unified School District, 13.9% in 2023 of the student population identified as Asian, Filipino, or Pacific Islander, the third highest demographic. Yet studies have found that the academic needs of Asian American and Pacific Islanders are frequently overlooked. So now, therefore, be it resolved that the governing board of the Mount Diablo Unified School District hereby recognizes the month of May as Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month and calls on all schools to commemorate this occasion accordingly with appropriate instructional materials, discussions, presentations, and projects. Madam President, I now put this in the hands of the board.
Thank you for reading all which is only a fraction.
Yeah.
Like that, we're recognizing that each of these peoples are distinct languages, distinct cultures, distinct foods, distinct music, distinct dancing, just all of it. And even though it's and others, so we didn't say it all, but I appreciate, I know, no, I know that, but I appreciate that at least to the extent that we did, that we recognize that Asia and the Pacific is vast, large, and not one people. I move to adopt Resolution 2425-61 in recognition of Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month.
I'll second that.
So we have a motion by trustee Nzewi with a second by trustee Mason on the recognition of Asian American Pacific Islander Heritage Month. Is there further discussion? Hearing none, trustee Ochoa, how do you vote?
Yes.
The motion is adopted with a 5-0-0-0 vote in support with trustee Ochoa. Dr. Clark, the
All right,
next.
we're getting there. We're going through these. Got lots of people out there. So resolution 24/25-62, recognizing May as Jewish American Heritage Month. Whereas National Jewish American Heritage Month celebrates and recognizes Jewish contributions to American culture, history, military, science, government, education, in all areas of American life. So now, therefore, be it resolved that the governing board of the Mount Diablo Unified School District hereby recognizes May as Jewish American Heritage Month and supports opportunities for all students, staff, faculty, and members of the public to honor and learn more about Jewish American history and culture. Madam President, I now leave this resolution in the hands of the board.
Madam President, I move to adopt Resolution 2425-62, recognizing May as Jewish American Heritage Month.
Second.
So we have a motion by trustee Count with a second by trustee McDougall on the recognition of May as Jewish American Heritage Month. Is there further discussion?
I just want to say this resolution, like many of our resolutions, came to us from parents and families in our schools and in our communities that asked us to recognize them. And so I'm appreciative of this board for continuing to do so.
Trustee Ochoa, how do you vote?
Yes.
And And this resolution is adopted on a 5-0-0-0 vote with support by Trustee Ochoa. Dr. Clark.
Great. Madam President, I now bring before you Resolution 24/25-63, which is School Nurses Day, which is May 7th, 2025, and School Nurses Week, which is May 6th through the 12th. Whereas School Nurse Day was established to foster a better understanding of the role of nurses in the educational setting and is celebrated annually on the Wednesday within National Nurses Weeks. And now therefore be it resolved that the governing board of the Mount Diablo Unified School District hereby recognizes May 7th as School Nurses Day and the week of May 6th to May 12th as National Nurses Week. Madam President, I now leave this in the hands of the board.
I move to approve Resolution 2425-63, School Nurses Day, May 7th, 2025, and National Nurses Week, May 6th to 12th, 2025. I'm sorry, I laugh because I'm like, that's my eldest friend's 50th birthday.
I'll second that.
So we have a motion by Trustee Nzewi with a second by Trustee Cound on the recognition of School Nurse Day and National Nurses Week. Is there further discussion? Hearing none, Trustee Ochoa, how do you vote?
Yes.
Thank you. The recognition of our school nurses is adopted as a 5-0-0-0 vote with support from Trustee Ochoa. And Dr. Clark?
Yes, so now I have Resolution 24/25-64 in recognition of California Day of the Teacher, which is May 14th, and National Teacher Appreciation Week, which is May 5th through 9th. Whereas May 14th, 2025 is California Day of the Teacher, and the week of May 5th through the 9th is National Teacher Appreciation Week. Whereas the governing board of the Mount Diablo Unified School District recognized the invaluable contributions of educators to the success of our students and the strength of our community. So be it further resolved that all students, parents, and school district employees should bring Starbucks and Pete's Coffee to, no, I'm joking. Be it further reserved that all students and parents and school district employees are encouraged to participate in observances that express and show appreciation to the instructional staff at schools throughout the Mount Diablo Unified School District. Madam President, I now leave this resolution in the hands of the board.
Madam President, I move to adopt Resolution 2425-64, California Day of the Teacher and National Teacher Appreciation Week.
Second.
We have a motion by Trustee Cound and a second by Trustee McDougall with the recognition of California Day of the Teacher and National Teacher Appreciation Week. Is there further discussion?
I'll just emphasize, especially as we're winding down the school year and we've all survived, especially the teachers dealing with all these children.
A big thank you to all of our teachers out there for all of your hard work. And yes, especially these this last stretch is a hard one, but you'll make it.
Trustee Ochoa, how do you vote?
Yes.
The resolution in support of our teachers is adopted on a 5-0-0-0 vote with support from Trustee Ochoa.
All right. Our next resolution will be handled by our Human Resources Department.
Good evening, Superintendent Dr. Clark, Madam President, and trustees. Variable term waivers provide applicants with additional time to complete certain requirements for the credential that authorizes the service. The waiver request is made when there is not a properly credentialed person for the position. All requests for a variable term waiver must be presented for approval to the governing board of a public school district. This evening, we present two to you. With that, I leave this item in the hands of the board.
Madam Chair, I move to approve Resolution 24/25-66 for variable term waivers.
Second.
So we have a motion by Trustee Mason with a second by Trustee Nzewi regarding the Resolution 2425, number 66, for variable term waivers. Further discussion? Trustee Ochoa, how do you vote?
Yes.
Thank you.
Did your vote come up? Because mine is not. I think my screen is frozen.
Shows you are the only one who doesn't vote.
Thank you.
Okay, so the motion on the variable term waivers is adopted on a 5-0-0-0 vote with support of Trustee Ochoa. Dr. Clark?
Great. Next, we have item 10.8, and we have our CBO, Adrian Vargas, and guest. He will take this next item. 2 items.
Thank you, Dr. Clark. So we have a short presentation, and this is related to items 10.8 and 10.9. So with that, we are going to be reviewing the refunding of the GEO bonds, which is related to, well, the refunding of the GEO bonds and then the last issuance of Measure J. And with me tonight is Rachel Chang Quay from Fieldman Rollap. And so I will go through the overview and then pass it on to Rachel, and she'll go through the numbers. So as you're aware, we have facilities funding program that is comprised of GEO bonds or general obligation bonds. And then we do look for matching facilities funding from the state. And we are proactive in taking advantage of bond refinancing opportunities. And so, as I stated earlier, we do have one available, which is related to the 2010 Measure C, Series A. And also at the same time, we to create efficiencies and primarily staff time and costs, we're also going to issue out the remaining 55 million in Measure J. And that is in order to finish out the projects. And like I said, we talked about that in terms of saving staff time and then issuance costs. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Rachel. And just one thing I do want to point out in terms of the new issuance, Rachel will be going through 3 different options that we talked about. And really, it's just more of an illustration of kind of the process and then kind of the things that I was looking at with Rachel. We will be going with option C, but she will walk you through that.
Thank you, Adrian. Good evening again. Pleasure to be here supporting you as your financial advisor. I'll move on to the next page. As Adrian mentioned, I'll dive into some of the numbers. I'll start with the proposed refunding or refinancing. It's very similar to refinancing a home mortgage. We now have an opportunity to lower the interest costs on your outstanding bonds and therefore providing taxpayer savings, as you have done many, many times before. So the 2010 Measure C bond Series A was originally issued back in 2010, and now we have a chance to lower the 5.65% interest rate with the current market. As you probably read on the news headline, we're seeing tremendous volatility in the financial market. We'll continue to monitor that. These numbers are a snapshot in time, but something that we continue to monitor. We're very active in the market, and certainly we want to make sure you execute and achieve the best interest rate possible. But here, just as a illustration, what you can see is that we're not extending out the term of the original bonds, so that stay in 2035. But the numbers here that we can share with you is that on a gross aggregate level, we're estimating over 11 million of taxpayer savings. So since it's saved over time, we also look at it on a net present value basis. So that, in terms of percentage, is close to 11%. Some of the best practices in the market, we recommend a refinancing to proceed with one if you see net present value savings greater than 3 or 5%. So well above that. And as I mentioned earlier, these will not extend out the terms. We also have a little graph to illustrate how the savings will look like, which is a common way to structure the saving. So you save a similar percentage of savings every year to the taxpayer. And I'll move on to the next slide. If there are no questions there, as Adrian introduced, we evaluated, and in fact, more than these three options, but these three is a good illustration to show the spectrum of the options that we looked at for the Measure J Series C bonds. So to quickly walk through some of the items for the different options, you will see that the first three line items, they're exactly the same. First and foremost is on the assessed valuation growth. So these bonds are repaid by property taxes. So how the assessed valuation of the properties are projected is an important component. And we're staying very conservative here, projecting only 2% of annual growth going forward, while historically you have seen greater than 5% or 4.5% for the 33-year average. So we're being conservative and certainly want to outperform these projections when it comes to actual tax rates showing up on people's tax bills. Next item here is the tax rate estimate on a per 100,000 of assessed valuation basis. Again, this is based on the assessed value, not the property or resale value, but how the county is currently assessing the property. And that is $15 per 100,000 as communicated to the community back in 2018 when Measure J was approved. And then the principal amount is exactly the same throughout all scenario to access all remaining 55 million. And starting with line 4, you will see the difference here. So we started with the bond term structure of 25 years. So 25-year to 30-year is very commonly utilized by school districts issuing their GO bonds. And looking at that, knowing that you have tax rate capacity, your assessed valuation has grown greater than what was previously projected. So we looked at what if we were to shorten those terms. Similar to a home mortgage, shorter the term, lower the interest cost, but in return, your monthly payment, or in our case, the annual repayment, will be slightly higher. So we look at the term to shorten it to 20 years or 18 years. And in return, the tax rates are slightly higher on an annual basis. That ranges from 5 to over $6.8 per 100,000 for Series C. And on a measure basis for Measure J on an aggregate level, those are slightly higher as you go out to the different terms. Nevertheless, if you look to line 8, looking at the repayment, principal and interest debt service repayment for Series C, the shorter the term, the lower the repayment. And they vary significantly. If we were to do 25-year bonds, it's over $103 million total repayment. That's principal and interest. But if we were to do option C with 18-year term, that lowers it down to roughly 76 million. Another way that in our line of work to look at evaluate a financing cost is looking at the repayment ratio. For every dollar you borrow, how much are you paying back? So those numbers are summarizing down here as well, with option A at 1.9 to $1, and now ranging down to option C at $1.38. So you may ask, why option C, 18 years, not 15 years, not some other numbers, right? So on the next page here, we have a depiction of the tax rate structuring, how the repayment of all of Measure J's bonds are layered. And then you can see that with option A, we're, in fact, with all three options, we are well under the $15 tax rate line, while statutorily you can issue up to $60 per 100,000. So we're very conservative here. And then the blue bars are the current 2022 Series B bonds that are currently outstanding. And those green bars that we're layering is the proposed Series C issuance. So the first chart is for option A, second chart for option B. And if you're looking at option C, you will see that the green bar ends exactly the year as your outstanding 2022 Series B. So we're not extending out even existing term of your Measure J. That's why we prepare option C for a 18-year bond term. Lastly, to go through some of the financing timelines, we started a process to prepare for the GEO financings back in February. We have prepared legal documents that are on the agenda for the board's consideration tonight. We also procure credit rating for the financing, which is a required process as we access the capital market. And here is also to share the good news with you. We got our AA3, which is a very high credit rating affirmed by Moody's Investor Service. And we also got the rating outlook revised from stable to positive, all attributed to the great work on managing our finances at the district here. Here we are at the board for you to consider the two GEO financings on the agenda tonight. Next steps would be to go to the County Board of Supervisors for them to consider a consent resolution. That's their standard process for specifically the Series C Measure J bonds. If we were to achieve all those steps, we will be starting the pre-marketing period to solicit investor interest starting in the end of April. And then we'll be entering the market if the market cooperates and interest rates stay relatively advantageous. That is currently targeted for May 5th and 6th. We hit those targets, go through the closing process. We'll be refinancing the bonds and then also delivering Measure J proceeds for projects on May 22nd. Those concludes all the slides.
So we're open for any questions.
I like option C. Anytime we can get rid of debt faster, that's the way to go.
What happens if the market doesn't cooperate? What's plan B to C?
That's a great question. Unfortunately, that's something we're having to deal with more frequently than, say, in prior years. So what will happen is by approving the financings tonight, do not obligate you to enter the market. I will be discussing it with staff, with Adrian, on setting some of the thresholds and parameters on what we are trying to achieve. And we will make sure, unless we achieve those targets, we do not enter the market. What we'll do is we will stay flexible and make sure that when the timing is right, then we act quickly to execute them.
That was my first question.
That was my question as well. Thank you very much.
So I appreciate the information. It's very well presented. I want to share publicly that I have received no comment regarding this item as a trustee. And do we have any public comment cards on this agenda item? No. Okay. Thank you. We appreciate that. Perhaps I know there are many people that watch for these items on our agenda, and if there is a public comment, that's usually a positive sign.
All right.
Anything else?
No. So with that, I will make the motion to approve the resolution authorizing issuance of 2025 refunding general obligation bonds in the principal amount of not to exceed $90 million.
Second.
So we have a motion by trustee Cound with a second by trustee Nzewi to approve the resolution 24//25/5067 authorizing the issuance and sale of the refunding general obligation bonds in the principal amount not to exceed $90 million for the purpose of refunding outstanding Yes. So, Trustee Ochoa, how do you vote?
Yes.
I failed to ask, is there further discussion?
I just want to say thank you for looking out for the taxpayer dollar and for the most efficient way to do both of these financial actions at the same time.
And the resolution on item 10.8 is adopted with a 5-0-0-0 vote and support from our student trustee. Thank you. We'll move on to the next item.
Still, Mr. Vargas.
So this resolution is related to the issuance of the new money for Measure J.
I move to approve resolution authorizing issuance of general obligation bonds, 2018 election, Series C, in the principal amount not to exceed $55 million.
Second.
So we have a motion by Trustee Nzewi with this, a second by Trustee McDougall on the resolution 24-25-68 authorizing the issuance and sale of general obligation bonds for the 2018 election Series C in the principal amount not to exceed $55 million. Further discussion? Trustee Ochoa, how do you vote?
Yes.
And the motion is adopted on a 5-0-0-0 vote with the support of Trustee Ochoa. Thank you very much. Thank you for your presentation, and we'll keep our fingers crossed.
And it was really great to see the positive Moody's rating, you
Yes.
know, for the public to know that we are managing your finances very carefully and very well.
I believe I recall that recently another district in Contra Costa County's rating was lowered recently. So
We're going to keep plugging away here in Mount
yes,
D.
thank you.
So we have someone back to give us an update on Proposition 28. We have, the dynamic Kelly Hoover, who, this position, if you could just build somebody for this position, it would be Kelly. And I know she shared many times her experiences and all her credentials and what has prepared her for this moment. So Ms. Hoover, tell us about Prop 28, Art and Music in Mount Diablo Schools.
Hello, good evening again, Madam President, Board Trustees, Dr. Clark. Thank you so much for taking the time to hear our presentation tonight. My name is Kelly Hoover, and I'm the Visual and Performing Arts Curriculum Specialist. Tonight, Gustavo and I will be sharing an update on our Prop 28 funds district-wide. As we go through our slides, you will see many photos of some of our visual and performing arts programs throughout the district. On November 8th, 2022, California voters approved an annual funding stream to support visual and performing arts in public and charter schools. $938 million annually was released in February or March of 2024, which was about $5 million additional than was previously estimated in May 2023. These are the programs that the CDE defines as arts education, which the money can be spent on to support. Prop 28 funds are equal to 1% of Prop 98 funds. Any changes to Prop 98 will cause adjustments to Prop 28. We receive the funds as part of our monthly principal apportionment. And I just want to highlight this project here is from Bancroft, where the kindergartners created the drawings and then the fifth graders sewed the actual stuffed animals for them. So it's really, really cute. If you're at Bancroft, pop in and see if you can see some of those. Prop 28 distributes funding based on enrollment, 70% to schools based on their share of statewide enrollment and 30% to schools based on their share of economically disadvantaged students. The guidelines of this funding state that at least 80% of the funds must be used for additional certificated or classified FTE. 19% can be used for instructional materials, supplies, equipment, as well as arts education partnerships and contractors, and up to 1% may be used for administration or indirect costs. Schools are required to certify that the funds were spent in addition to existing district funding for arts education programs. School site administrators make the decisions for how to spend the funds with input from their various stakeholder groups. This allows sites to provide programs that their communities would like to see grow, and it also means that our programs are going to vary from site to site. One of our district goals from our strategic arts plan was to provide more arts offerings at the elementary level. We've been able to hire 20 and counting, with some additional vacancies still that we are filling, new art staff to provide more arts access for our students. Here are some of our wonderful team members at our monthly collaboration. At the elementary level, we've also been able to provide experiences with our local artists and contractors, which has also helped us increase our arts partnerships. We've also been able to provide new instruments and art supplies with these funds. Another goal we're working on is exploring new spaces for the arts, and you can see here some of our new art spaces. At the secondary level, middle school so far, we've added 25 additional sections of the arts. And at the high school level, we've added 9 sections of arts with more to come. We've also added 5 art specialists to provide art support within our art classes. Here are some of our secondary additions in the arts. Mount Diablo High School has brought back their music program this year, including drumline and choir. Ignacio Valley High School has been able to provide piano this year and is planning to create a chorus class for next year. We've also been able to purchase new instruments, kilns, art supplies, lighting and sound equipment, etc. I'll share with Gustavo here, who will share a little bit of the numbers so far.
Thank you. So I'll be providing an update on the funding and expenditures for the art and music in schools. The funding amount for the 23-24 fiscal year is $4,072,821, and for 24-25 is $4,010,391. This table represents the actuals and encumbrances for the 23-24 funds that are not fully expended yet. However, these funds must be spent within 3 years, or they must be returned to CDE. So far, 78% of the funds have been spent on personnel, 21% on goods and services, and 0.06% on indirect cost. We're on track to meet the 80% minimum for personnel spending and continue to prioritize hiring certificated and classified art instructors. Today, our waiver request was approved for 23-24, and this gives us the flexibility to use the supply funds to create dedicated art spaces and expand instruction where it's needed most. And now I'll turn it over to Kelly.
Thank you. All right, so our next steps, we will be returning to you in June to present our annual report that will be filed with the CDE. We're going to continue to grow and hire more staff as we move through the summer. And again, our first year of funding will expire in June of 2026. So our focus right now is making sure that we are spending all of those money to create new art experiences for our students. Thank you.
You know this question.
Do you have a quick question? Do you kind of have a roster of the different things that are happening? Because I used to love to go to the high school plays on a weekend when they were having their, and I don't know when they are anymore till after they've happened, because we used to have a lot of kids come share here, and now we have a student rep. So it'd be really cool if there was a way to let the board know of upcoming events so we can go out and see how these funds are being enacted in our programs.
Absolutely. We do have a district VAPA calendar, and I can make sure that you're all attached to that. So you can see our events.
Go ahead.
I don't know. I don't have a lot. Don't.
Ladies.
Sorry. Thank you. Thank you for the presentation. I think I asked this similar question when you presented the strategic plan last year. Like time is a construct. I don't know. Whenever it was last year. And it has to do with like concerns for me around the local control, which is how the prop position was written, and the local control being the school site, and ensuring that there is true equity across school sites of what's offered, and the opportunities. So I don't know how to phrase my question. I don't know what it is, but how are we controlling for like a school community that is really engaged in the arts, and a school community that isn't, because they haven't had it, and so they wouldn't even know what to ask or fight for from their school site money.
Yeah, that's where I come in. I'm able to help with the principals. I've met with many of them to develop and craft plans, looking at the data from their parent meetings, from their students, from their staff, to help determine which direction they'd like to go. So I'm happy to meet with anybody at any of the sites to help support them in figuring out the best way to go. Because you're right, it is a site decision, and so the programs are going to vary from site to site, because it's not a district decision that makes the choices for the money. So you're right, it is an interesting way that it was worded.
Have you seen in our district any example of school sites who have engaged the students and the teachers and the community in figuring out what they want that's different, or that's added at the add-on, because this is an add-on?
Correct. Yeah, I definitely think at the secondary level they are, because it's such a student-driven schedule. And so finding out what the students are interested in and how can we use the Prop 28 money to provide sections for classes that maybe don't have a ton of enrollment yet, but we could start them small to start growing the program. And some of our sites have taken that opportunity.
I'll leave the rest for June.
Okay. I want to say, first of all, thank you to the voters for voting yes on Prop 28, because having this opportunity is incredible to have this funding above and beyond our original funding. And thank you to your team and all the school sites for taking on this role of how are we going to best spend these funds. I was looking back through our strategic plan and kind of comparing, and I'm just especially excited about the gaps that have been beginning to close in terms of the offerings that we've been able to provide. Mount Diablo High was one of the things that the Strategic Arts Group planning group specifically pointed out as lacking in providing these opportunities. And so seeing the pictures from Mount Diablo High of the choral and the instrumental music there, it's just so wonderful and long overdue. I think along similar lines, I was thinking about how do we best look at the equity issues across the district and how we're spending our funds, and that we have about 2 million that we have to make sure to spend by June 2026, because we don't want to give it back. But with that structure of each school making their own decisions. So one thought I had is going forward, and I don't know if this is already in your upcoming report, but I think it would be helpful for us to see a chart of all of our schools, maybe with columns for like, here's the amount that school is allocated from Prop 28, here's how much they have spent so far, and then by fiscal year. And then a few words on like what were that school's priorities. So then schools can see what each other are doing, and we can also catch if there are some schools that are, way behind in spending their allocation. Then we can make sure to focus on that school, make sure that they can make some big investments before June of 2026, because I think that's how it has to be spent, right? By school. So it's
Yes.
not just that we have 2 million that we need to spend by June,
Correct.
but like
It's little pockets of money at all the different sites
each
that
school
equals
site.
the 2 million.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. And sometimes it can be hard to spend money. Um,
Can I add a question to that? So if
Yeah.
a school doesn't spend money, can that money go to another school?
No.
Okay.
No, it has to be spent at that school site. But one thing we do have is we've created spending plans for every site, and that's how the administrator and I communicate is through the spending plan. So that's always something I can share with you as well. We have a whole folder of spending plans where you can look and see how each of the sites are planning to
And can
spend
they
money.
see each other's?
They can see each other's as
Okay.
well. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Great.
It's a whole
Great.
folder.
Okay. All right. And then I'm just always cognizant of the fact that prior to us creating the strategic plan and Prop 28 passing, we did have to make some drastic cuts back in 2020, including to fourth grade instrumental music. And so that's always something in the back of my head. And it is also in our strategic plan that says that we'll explore options beyond the pull-out model to expand access to fourth and fifth grade students district-wide and explore different scheduling models for instrumental choral music at the elementary level. So that's what our plan says. I know you've made a lot of wonderful progress on other parts of the plan and that this is one of the most complicated pieces to do, particularly because the funding goes to each individual school. And when we do an instrumental music program, it is you have to collaborate.
Everybody has to agree
together,
essentially, to put all of their money into that specific.
Right. And so one of the things that this group had talked about was the goals of bringing back instrumental music to elementary school would be we want it accessible to everybody, so not a pull-out program that disrupts other academic subjects. But then the other sort of out-of-the-box thinking that was talked about there was that like I remember when I was a parent new to this school district, I was surprised that we had a short day Wednesdays in our elementary schools because not all districts have that. I actually came from a neighboring district that did not have that. So from the parents and families' perspective, that's disruptive to have a short day one day a week, right? So the thinking was, what if you were able to fill in that time period? Teachers still get their collaboration time, but students are occupied during that time by the arts, by other teachers that come in, right? And that's the kind of scheduling idea. And so that might not be Prop 28 though, because if that's technically after school time for students, maybe it's ELOP funds, right? Because it's actually after school. So anyway, I just don't want that that sort of big picture out of the box thinking ideas to fall by the wayside. And so if there's a small group of schools that wanted to collaborate to try something out, I hope we're still continuing to do that along the way, and that schools don't get too, even though they get their own funds, that they don't get too kind of blinded and not collaborating with others.
I think we have to be
yeah.
careful not to micromanage because the whole point is for the school to be able to decide. And
the
why
community,
I
yeah.
might think this school needs fourth grade music, they might think they want ballet folklorica. So it's the way you're managing it seems to be working. is what
I
I'm
think.
trying to
Oh
say.
yes,
I think
it's
for
not a
trustee-
criticism at
yeah,
all.
I think Trustee Cowan, it's not to do anything instead of anything else.
Right.
It's about the pull-out model itself, and for the children who want to participate in music, that their only option is to miss an hour or whatever of whatever their classroom teacher would be teaching at that time. A funny, not funny story. My own child was in a pullout, and it was a whole month before I found out that she hadn't been going to her instrumental music because, and so she was lying. This was to me whenever I said, "How is music today?" But the point being, once we got through the moment, she didn't want to miss math, and that's the choice that we're forcing students to make and families to make, is to miss some, which every minute is important, some important part of their day, is to make that choice. And that's not the choice that anybody should be making. They should have the opportunity for ballet folklorico, for instrumental or choral music, for whatever, and not have to do a pull-out model if there's a creative solution to it without micromanaging and making people do it, whatever.
Yes, and all of that is a yes, and you've done tremendous work. This is not instead of at all. This, for the first year of having this funding and being able to get off the ground as many things as you have managed to do across all school sites is incredible, and we're off to a fantastic start. So thank you.
So if you all have directions and questions, if you can email those to me. Kelly is doing a presentation, and it's really hard to take all that input and stuff and write it down and all that stuff. So
We were discussing it among ourselves.
This is just an open discussion.
Yeah.
Yes, we can forward that.
Okay,
Thank you all.
Follow that. I want to see family purpose in the audience. Oh, where is she? Oh, okay. Hey, Monique, I was wondering. I didn't see you. All right, good, good. Well, this is Family Purpose, and I've talked about them before. They provide a very unique service to us. They talk to kids and support students that don't receive that support in other places. And so we contract with some individuals to do that. And so this is Monique, and she's going to share a little bit about their work with Mount Diablo District. So thank you, Monique.
Yes, well, thank you, Dr. Clark, Superintendent, and board members, trustees. Thank you so much for having us. Continuing to partner with us. We appreciate that. We thank you so much. Thank you as well to you, our student trustees. So we're going to do a quick, and I'm going to run through it. So I have it on paper this time. Last time I didn't, right? So that way it's not
Click,
so.
you're gonna click too.
Oh, okay, yeah, here's the clicker. So it's not so long, but just so I can kind of know what was happening. Okay, so just to start, so this year we actually did a couple of things different. So since last year, I was working closely with teachers more, but since this year we have Dr. Shelly Holtz that was working with teachers. What I did was I was able to now add in more bodies. What that means is I was able to bring in more people to provide more services to our students, right? And so what I like to do is I'm really a problem solver, right? So I like to see like if there's a need, how do we fix that need? How do we fill that void? And so that's what we were able to do with some of our different groups of students. And so you'll see here. So what we offer a lot of things, right? The emotional support, academic tutoring. So the SOAR support, that was something that we was able to add. We do the community service opportunities, ELD support. That was another thing that we were able to add this school year. And so really excited about that. The teacher admin support, the FAFSA, scholarships, college applications, job search, and entrepreneurship. So when we say the number of students, the interactions, that means that, right, that our classroom door is a revolving door. And so that can be during lunchtime, after school, before school, or during class time, right? We know that a lot of students are sent to us and they also self-send, self-refer, being that they're in class and just say, you know what, they feel like they can't focus. So then now they'll want to come and focus in our classroom. One thing that we do here and don't hear from a lot of teachers is, oh, well, they won't do the work in our class, but at least they'll come in your classroom and do the work, right? And still turn the work in. And then sometimes with some of our students, we have a problem with that, right? But our biggest thing is that if that is a problem, then you can't come to our classroom, right? But students are not allowed to come without a pass, right? So all these interactions are with a pass. 97 parent interactions, 46 conflict mediations, 2 were unsuccessful. What does that mean? That just means that we have to either do another one or it did end up resulting in a fight after the mediation. So really excited about the growth this year of the academic piece, right? And I really believe that that has a lot to do with that now we have 3 to 5 people in the schools. And so that has really made a significant change because now there's just different people for people to connect with, right? Like everybody might not connect with me, but now they might connect with Miss Monica or Miss Danielle. And now we even have males in the school. So that's been really good, right? To run our boys groups and to work with our male population. So as you see, our first semester was 207, 2.7, I'm sorry. And then for the second semester, we had a 3.15. So that's really good because normally we're not in the 3.5 for second semester. So I'm excited about that, especially with high school. And then, so for Mount Diablo, our numbers are lower again. So what you can see, what it shows too, is the schools that we have been at, right? So YB, we've been at Mount Diablo. We're new to Mount Diablo, and so our numbers are really low. Well, not really low. That's still a lot of interactions, right? So, but when it comes to the conflicts, so we're not being, we're not the primary main source yet for that. And so I'm hoping that that changes, right? Because that really is our expertise when it comes to resolving conflicts. And so same thing. So now you see the data was the same. And I was like, that can't be right. But as you see, the percentages are different, right? And so that's how that ended up, right? And then so for Oak Grove, same thing. We have the 53 parent, 2,000, over 2,000 interactions, and conflicts 27, 3 unsuccessful. Real, and you guys have access to that, but really excited that the suspension rate has gone down significantly at Oak Grove, right? And what we know is last year it was higher, but it was higher, we didn't have counselors, right? And so that's really exciting to see and to know. And so as you see, started off really low at a 1.63, but now we're up to a 3.17, which is really good. We've implemented something at Oak Grove that has really been really great, which is this school year, we have this, we haven't put a name to it yet, but with the support of our amazing teacher, that helps us support and organize, where we do 1 month is tardies. So when we first started, it was 20 tardies, I believe. So the first month, you can have anybody that had 20 tardies or less, you were able to participate in this Friday monthly event, right, that we do. And so it's really fun. Everybody that had the 20 tardies or less, you get to come out and participate in a lot of games and activities. And then the next month, it was the academics, and we started at a 2.5. Now we're up to a 3.25, and yeah, 3.25. And what's exciting about this, you guys, is that we've had like 200 and something, 300 and something students, right? And so that's really good. That's really good. That's like a third of the school that are having great attendance as well as great academics success, right? So really excited about that. And so then the Riverview, our interactions, as you can see, very high when it comes to parent, as well as our conflict mediations. Now at Riverview, we also have our, what do we like to call it? I can't think of the room. They call it something. I'll just say our reprocess room, our refocus room, right? And so that's why Riverview is a lot higher, I would say, is because we do a lot more work when it comes to Riverview just by having that refocus room. And so we started at a 1.21, and then now we're at a 2.97, which is really good, and especially for Riverview. And so these are the extra services that I was talking about that we've been able to add, right? Which is our ELD and our SOAR. And so our caseload for that is really good at all around the board. We don't have SOAR at Riverview, and that is because Miss Rosie said that, you know, the counselors and the staff that are there have it. And so we didn't want to be double pulling the kids out. And so with that, okay, so those are some of our ELD students, just the different little groups. So here, okay, and we can, I wanted, so I want to be able to, couldn't, for some reason, it wouldn't go on for you to see what that was. So blue is principal, red is VP, yellow is counselor, green is teacher, right? And so the principal, and this is the redirection room, that refocus room that I was talking about. So as you see, we have majority, the students that are being referred there from our principals, right? And then this is from 5. So this is a new way that we just started to collect the data. This is student responses, so which is really good. So then as you can see here too, right, a lot of the send outs are from disrupting the class, right? And so we're going to do more work in more groups and more connections with teachers. So next year, the plan is, again, if we are blessed enough to have the partnership again, right? With seeing this data and seeing that where we're at with the percentages and stuff, again, by this being new, now what it does is it allows us to be able to see where we need to bring changes and where we need to implement more work. And so what I see with that is this, that I want to do more push-ins, and when it comes to the teachers. So at that school, we will start back to doing more work with the teachers, because we see that that's a big thing that's needed. Right. And then that's the gender and the grades response. So majority of the students coming in there right now are from 7th grade, right? Majority are male, and this is why we also have a male staff up there as well. Ulysses, who's doing an amazing job from what I always hear, right? And then just again, some of our college, the UCAN, y'all see amazing Dr. Francis. Then our gig groups, because we do have our gig groups, which is our Greatness Inspiring Greatness, our toy giveaway. So this year we didn't, Miss Rosie, she told us later, so we didn't get to do it at the center here, but what we did do is we drove around. So me, Miss Rosie, we drove around and passed out bikes and toys to the families in the community and the Bay Point community. We went to the, I forget the name of that center, but to the, yeah. And then no, there's a, on Willow Pass Road, that the shelter that's there. Love a Child. Yes. And so we went there and we were able to pass out stuff. And then also I did families from each school. And so what we did is I went and gave toys, shoes, clothes, right, to our high school students and junior high students that needed some, clothes. Thank you. And then our Black Joy Night, again, that was at YV, Oak Grove, our girls group, vision board. So every school has boys groups and girls groups. And then see, this is our field day, you guys. So see how amazing that is? Like so many students are out there and having a good time. When I tell you that we have not had not one fight, one altercation and the first one that we had was over 400 students. We were scared. We were nervous. We were so nervous, and Dr. Ramos was like, "Oh no, we have to figure out a better system." But it worked. It did work. We got out successfully. But from there, we definitely have figured out new systems. And then the boys group, the tutoring group, and so we're doing the tutoring. Miss Monica at YB, she likes to do every month when there's something, so our Women's History Month, and then that's our conclusion. And so, yeah, I'm really excited and happy with where our program is this year. Just like I said, just because of the extra services that we've been able to implement, mainly for our ELD students. We know that right now is a very hard time for our families, right? And so really being able to have somebody on campus that is supporting our students under our program. I know that you guys have your own people that are supporting it, but under our program has just been very rewarding and fulfilling. Any questions?
Yes. On your slide here, you say our goal is to maintain our 100% graduation rate. Can you explain the graduation rate?
So for us, all of our students that have gone through our program have graduated. And so that for us.
From our schools at grade 12.
Yes. Yeah, from our schools at grade 12. Yes. And even when we first started, we were at the Diablo Day, right? And all of my students from Diablo Day graduated, actually had 5 graduate early because we were closing the school. And so that was very, very exciting.
Yes. Yes, it was. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions? No? Okay.
Appreciate
Exciting.
your work.
Great to hear about all the great work. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you so much. I can look forward to continuing to do more. Thank you. You guys have a good night.
Thank you. I appreciate all that you're doing.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So we're ready for board member reports. Who's my first victim? Trustee Ochoa, you were smiling.
Hello. Next Wednesday and the following Wednesday, I plan to host informational Zoom sessions for students interested in becoming the next student board member. During these sessions, I will share the main responsibilities of the position, talk about my own experiences, and answer any questions students may have. Students can find the flyer and the information to join on the district website. This is an important leadership opportunity, and serving on this role has been a rewarding experience. I'm excited to talk with other students who may be interested. Thank you.
Great. Thank you for all your work. Trustee Nzewi.
I do not have anything to report today.
Great. Trustee McDougall.
Okay. On the 17th of April, I attended a all-day Zoom meeting for new board trustees. And this was put on by CSBA. So I thought it was good discussion with other new board members from around the state. They showed us the good resources they have on the LCFF, the Brown Act, California School Dashboard, and one that intrigued me, board self-evaluation. I don't know if we do that. Okay, good. And then the PACER program, liaison program between CSBA and the schools. So that was very good. On the 19th, I took 4 of my grandkids to the Young Eagle flights over here at Concord Airport. And they get to fly for a half an hour or so with pilots who donate their time and their planes and their gas. And at the same time, they had some booths from kids who were from the Civil Air Patrol. And this is age 12 and up. I was very impressed with them because these guys go out on emergency search and rescue and help in crises like earthquakes. They're really dedicated. A couple of 15-year-old girls were really enthusiastically describing how they've been working with the group. And to me, I never knew Civil Air Patrol, so this was interesting. I all knew Scouts, but Civil Air Patrol was something new, so I was glad to see the excitement there. There was also a 17-year-old girl who was ready to get her flight licensing. So I think this is something that what I noticed was there were a lot of parents involved in bringing their kids to these flights and these other activities. So I was real glad to see that excitement. And I thought, man, how can we get these parents excited and doing it in our schools? Because that's really what's going to get the kids to be thinking about these sorts of projects when they have opportunities to look at other fields to study or exciting activities. On the 20th was Easter, so we had a Resurrection Sunday service. Really enjoyed that. On the 21st, went to with the rest of the staff here, the MDBEA meeting at the Serendipity Restaurant at Mount Diablo High School. And I found this to be very informative, as well as showed us where we might have some things to improve on. I participated in the transportation segment, and that's not as popular as the healthcare and that sort of thing. So I think there are things that can be improved on, and I've even talked to the director, and I think we'll have a session on that. Maybe we can improve it all around. Anyway, that's my report. Thank you.
Trustee Mason.
It's only been a minute since we were here last time, but I went to the APAC meeting out in Bay Point, and basically we just kind of talked about plans for next year. I too went to the Business Alliance, and I just have to say to Dr. Fontanella, my little protege, Anna, did a fantastic job with the presentation. She made me so proud. And I went to the PAC meeting last night where we heard from our student services. And I know this, I've been with the district forever, but always to see the list of all the services they provide is always very impressive. As also Dr. Clark was very impressive with his update. I didn't want you to feel left out.
Trustee Cowan.
All right. I too attended the Business Alliance meeting, and it was just, I think Anna and the team of teachers did a really great job summarizing the projects of the year that each career pathway had, which was really, really great to see. And it's been growing over time. I think the transportation is fairly new now, so definitely growth area there. And they talked about the outreach to middle schools, to 8th grades, which I think has been a great new add the last couple years. And it did get me thinking about, as we continue to grow, that maybe 7th grade would be a place we could outreach to, because families and students need to decide if they want to transfer to a different high school than their neighborhood school. They have to turn in that paperwork by November of their 8th grade year. So 8th grade is a little bit late unless you're doing it right, like in August, September. So maybe 7th grade in the future too. I also attended Northgate Open House and their 50th anniversary celebration last night. So that was really cool to see alumni coming out and alumni from their very first year from 50 years ago was there as well. And I'm excited for this Friday. I can't go to the Sequoia Multicultural Fair because there's also the Walnut Acres Multicultural Fair, where it just so happens a Diablo Taiko drumming group that I'm in is going to be performing. So I'm committed to that one. Sorry, Sequoia. But I'm excited for Walnut Acres. I'm also excited for the Mount Diablo Education Foundation Bocce Tournament that's on Saturday, May 3rd. I think that the teams are full. I do have a team there. If anyone wants to still join a team, I might have a spot. But you don't have to be on a team. You guys are all welcome to also just come by and join us for lunch. And, buy a few raffle tickets to benefit our Mount Diablo schools. It's on Saturday, May 3rd. And you can see information at mdedf.org/events.
Thank you. It's amazing to see, to listen how involved this board is in attending events and being out there with our community. I want to recognize that tomorrow night is the Community Advisory Committee Special Education Celebration of Success at 6 p.m. at Concord High School. Students will be recognized for their growth. It's always an outstanding event and emotional as well. And tomorrow night is the DLAC meeting, which begins at 5:30 at Willow Creek Center. May 1st, the Diablo Business Education Alliance has a career pathway showcase at John Muir Hospital in Concord from 11 to 2. And that's always outstanding to see the student presentations at that particular event. I appreciate your call out of the bocce ball tournament. It's fun to see other adults just being silly and having a lot of fun. And there are currently 16 teams competing. So it will be a full day of bocce from 9:30 to 5 p.m. in Clayton. And in regards to the Civil Air Patrol, 2 of my daughters were involved in that particular program, and one of them actually got to fly a C-5A out of Travis Airport, out of the Travis Air Base there, and it was an amazing experience for my daughters. So if folks are interested in aviation, the Civil Air Patrol is a great place for them to start. Dr. Clark.
Great. Thank you. Thank you. Obviously, lots going on. There is, there's a tremendous amount of uncertainty and just challenges in public education right now, and especially in California. But for some reason, I don't know why, it tends to, and here in Mount Diablo, we just continue to just plug along and continue to serve our students and our communities. So extremely proud of the work that we're doing. And I'm just going to highlight a couple things in my presentation. First of all, as always, this is the LCAP season, and so as we are looking at refining our goals, collecting input from our from our community, from our employees, from our students, from staff. That LCAP survey is on our website, on the front page of our website. You can access that, and you can provide input. And it's an enhanced survey, so we're excited to see what type of information we get back from this survey. So again, these LCAP goals are extremely important because it really does guide the work that we do and allocate the resources towards the important work that's happening. But I always like to focus on goal 1, that all students will receive a high quality education, regardless of where they attend school, regardless of their address, in a safe and welcoming environment with high expectations, regardless of where they go to school and regardless of their address, and rigorous instruction in the California state standards that prepare them for college and career. And so that is really at the foundation of all that we do. Just as we go on, we're getting a little more granular here, where we're calling out some specific student groups that have not historically been successful, and also some programs. I do want to highlight that we attended the WASC visit over at Crossroads High School on Monday morning, and the visiting team was very impressed by the facility and by the support and by the resources that we provide our young teenage mothers. So I let them know that I would come back and thank this board for that continued support, and it was nice to have Samantha Allen there, who had so much historical knowledge on the program and how it came about. And I don't want to leave out Christina Filios, who was also, we we plucked her from leading that program to her current position right now. And I do have good news that they did surprisingly pass their WASC and got glowing results. And of course, there's always room for improvement, and we accept that. And so we will look at ways that we can support them to continue to improve. And so we are calling them out in that attendance and graduation rates. And I can tell you just from our time down there that the folks at this school know about that goal, all the way from the administrators down to the students. I can't say that the little babies know it just yet, but the babies will benefit from them coming to school every day. Again, our CCEE kind of visual here. We still continue our work with CCE. We meet with them, seems like weekly, either through Zoom, or either I'm going to Sacramento or Samantha's going to Sacramento, and then we bring together our teams and have meetings with CCE and the county. Again, always looking at our instructional practices, always looking at our student groups and ways that we can get better. I do want to acknowledge these two resolutions that we received from the California State Assembly members. This one is from the 15th District Assemblywoman, Anna Marie Avila Ferris. Hope I'm pronouncing that right. But it says this is for, we have one for Elizabeth Swanson and one for David Pintado. They say the same things. It is my honor to present this decorated award. Throughout the district, you have proven to be someone who embodies passion, dedication, and an unwavering commitment to your students. Your impact goes beyond the classroom, which has inspired minds, built confidence, and shaped futures. Thank you for your commitment to education. So we're going to deliver those to those two, but I did want to put both of these resolutions into the record and thank our Assemblywoman. I just pulled these pictures off just because they, instruction is at the foundation of everything that we're doing. First time, high quality first time instruction beats any intervention, beats any supplemental program, beats any other experience our students can get rather than that good first instruction in our classrooms. And the picture you have on the left, you have those students who are reading non-fictional text, which is difficult for all students. They love reading fairy tales, they love reading, fiction and things like that. But when they can read nonfiction text and like follow directions, and so here they're doing a reading on how to build an airplane. And so these students are, it may sound simple, but like they're reading the directions on how to do it and stuff. And so real impressed by that. Then again, over on the right there, you have groups of students working together in collaboration, and obviously they're looking at text, looking at cause and effect. So just those two pictures just kind of stood out to me, and I wanted to share those. We have CAFS testing that's starting, and this is our state testing. And I've placed in my evaluation that we are going to improve our test scores. 45% of our students reading at or above grade level is not acceptable to me, and 38% of our students at or above grade level in math is not acceptable. And so we have been focusing 100% on how we are going to not only create environments where our students can be successful, but where we can equip those who are serving our students with the necessary skills to be able to successfully teach our students the grade level state standards that they deserve and are entitled to learn. Later on tonight, we're going to be presenting our recommendation for math adoption, and so that's just part of that work. But I always talk about that our testing is not everything. I never want us to get to a point where we're teaching to the test, but our students should be prepared. And it's easier said than done. It takes commitment, it takes work, it takes training, it takes that plan, do, study, act sort of process. And we are all in on this, and we are looking forward to our students engaging in this standardized testing, because if they want to go to college, if they want to go to trade school, they're going to have to pass a standardized test. So why don't we make that process enjoyable to them, and why don't we give them the skills to be able to navigate that and be successful on that. So excited to be embracing our state testing. And I know that our schools are doing a lot of work with communicating to parents about getting kids to bed early, getting them to school early, making sure that they're eating meals, not creating a whole bunch of distractions, keeping our students nice and calm as they come in for state testing. And I'll be sharing those results wide and far when they come, regardless of what the outcomes are, but we are shooting for improvements. As an organization, what we produce is young people that walk across the stage with a jacket with a diploma in it. And so we take our graduations extremely serious, and we're very, very proud of our graduations. And so this is on our website, it's on our social media, but this is a list and times of all of our graduations. And we start on May 27th, and we go all the way to June 7th. And so hopefully this board has had an opportunity to sign up for your graduations. As I was meeting with Trustee McDougall, I assured him that we would give him the script to certify the class. I told him that's the most important thing at the graduation, is to make sure we certify the class. So we're going to make sure, if ever I have to read it, I have at least 3 copies on me in case I lose it or can't get to it. But we want to make sure that we certify our classes properly. And it's just such a magical time, such a celebratory time, and we're really looking forward to our students graduating and moving on. I want to recognize some of the, we do these resolutions, and it always says at the bottom of it, hopefully at the schools that they'll, do programs and materials and activities that that really align to this. I am really I stand for a lot of things, but one of the things that I really stand for and I'm really committed to, and something that brings me great joy and enjoyment, is when I see young people enjoying nature, enjoying the outdoors, enjoying wildlife. And so Earth Day is something that just really stands out to me. So this is these are middle school students over at Valley View, and just when you look at this picture and you blow it up and you just see the diversity of the students who are there, and to know that these are middle schoolers and they could be off playing video games or doing whatever, but they're at their school participating in beautifying their school with Earth Day. I just really wanted to highlight that. I also had I learned a new area in our community. What area is this? Mitchell Canyon. Mitchell Canyon. So this is me yesterday over at Mitchell Canyon, and I was giving an Earth Day talk to 7th graders from Diablo View, who were getting ready to go on a hike, and they do an all-day hike. I asked if they go to the very top of Mount Diablo, but they don't. It's the different mountain or whatnot, but still all the same thing. But they were extremely excited, and one of the educators there in the background started this hike 20 years ago, and so anyway, so we were sharing that with the students. And in this picture, it's sort of the Where's Waldo picture. So someone in that picture doesn't belong, but you got to look real closely to find that person. And so so if you can't see him, okay, thank you. But it's there's a bald guy right there in the middle there, who wanted to go on the hike, but I had other duties. That I had to do. Otherwise, I really would have enjoyed going on that hike with those students. So and then this is Earth Day over at Walnut Acres. And again, I just love how, like, elementary teachers, like, they got everything organized. They got those kids sitting over there, like, just, it's going to be a very structured. I'm sure they had a ton of parents over there ready to volunteer and help, but just different ways that we were celebrating that special day. And it was neat to see how the different sites were celebrating it. This is some of our Mount Diablo students. These aren't all our Mount Diablo students, but they took a trip to Stanford, and I believe we had students from the different Greek organizations provide workshops for our students and activities over in the Stanford campus. So again, if you don't see it, then you can't be it. And so it's important that we get our students, on the college campuses, You know, obviously we do a lot of work with DVC. It's right across the street from our schools, but getting our students out to Stanford, Cal, San Jose State, CSU East Bay, all of those things, you know, is again, when we're preparing them for college and career, they got to be able to see it and experience it. So wanted to highlight that. I also, she didn't know I was putting this in there, but I got our own Trustee Ochoa over there, and this is Trustee Ochoa, which I just can't tell you just how proud I am of this. That you know, this is real getting real students' voice, right? I could go talk to students, which I do all the time, and we could talk to students, but it's nothing like, you know, a high school student, a high school senior coming and talking to middle school students, and you know, getting their input on what's working, what's not working, and just being someone creating that connection. And so, so this picture really stood. I know she shared at the last meeting that she had done this, but I found this picture and wanted to highlight this. And look at all those faces there. So good work, and thank you for doing that, and much appreciated. I also, you know, I want to call out, you know, Principal Katie Kuntz. She's an elementary principal, Gregory Gardens, and you know, she is really the epitome of just someone who it's always students, right? Every time, you know, every time you go by that school, she is out with students, and she does something over there where she has principles of the day. And I just know the type of leader that she is, that she has a hard time just picking one. So here she has 5 principles of the day. But one of the things I wanted to highlight here is that during Autism Acceptance Month, and you see it's autism acceptance. So how do we accept students who have autism? They learn differently. Their you know, the minds work a little maybe differently, and oftentimes in our district or in, you know, in educational settings, they are, you know, their behaviors are often misinterpreted. And so we have to have a month where we actually try to convince people to accept them. And I think that's really sad that we have to do that, but I also think it's important that we do that. And so this month is dedicated to raising awareness, promoting understanding, and fostering acceptance of individuals on the autism spectrum. And so what she was doing was she was having her principles of the day read in the announcements facts about autism and things like that. And so that's what started she and I with this conversation. So again, we have tons of principals out there who do great things, and I just wanted to just show an example and expectation of what I have of our principals, is that they are, number one, they're student-centered and they're focused on the student experience, and she's doing a great job at that. I also just, you know, this was next door, and this is actually a clip from a video. And you know, I had the fortunate experience growing up I'd spend several summers on Indian reservations in Utah, one Indian reservation, the Ute Indians, and Native Americans. And so they called themselves Indians, but when I saw the video, it just really just stood out to me and just grabbed me. And just what a gift for those students. And you see, I mean, you've always seen it in the back of their heads, but they are engaged. They are engaged in this dance. And it was an incredible dance that they were doing. And so I just, you know, and this was the title of the tweet, right? Celebrating inclusivity with Native American culture and stuff. And so this is at our school right next door, International Baccalaureate School. And again, I wish I could have been there. I wish I would have known, or if I was around, I definitely would have snuck over there and caught this. And lastly, I really wanted to make it over to the Northgate 50th anniversary, but I was in PAC, and by the time it ended, Samantha kept us there until exactly 7 o'clock, so I could not get over there. But I'm not afraid to. I want to celebrate my age, but I am a product of the class of 1986, and so I pulled out the picture that highlighted the 80s, which was the best years to really be a teenager and stuff. I know we might have some I don't know, in this room we probably got some 2010s and stuff here and stuff like that. But okay, yeah, we might have, I wasn't going to go there, but yeah, I know. I keep it my distance, but no, but just I just think it's a neat thing, right? Like just celebrating. And I know, you know, our schools have been around for a long time, and just to see this and just to have the kids learn about history and just laugh. Oh, look how they used to dress. It's not so funny when like they're talking about your dress and stuff like that, right? But anyway, just wanted to highlight that. And that these are just there's so many ways that we can focus on the positive wonderful things going on at our schools, and like that's what my entire presentation was about, just an example of how we have business to do in our schools, right? We have work to do. We need to make sure our kids are reading. We need to make sure that they're writing and doing math and being able to, you know, deal with success and failure and all those different things. But we also need to teach our students how to be positive, right? And how to look at the glass half full rather than half empty. And unfortunately, in you know, all too often in public education, we have so many that I just can't believe that we have all these young people around and we have folks who see the glass as half empty. And so, anyway, just a brief presentation of some of the wonderful things taking place in your district, in our district, and just looking forward to the next few weeks and finishing out this school year on a high note. So that I lost track, but we're right around 30 or 29 or somewhere around there. I'm not sure, but we're getting close. So lots of great things happening, and just super proud of our work, of all of our work, and let's keep it going during these uncertain times.
Thank you for sharing that the glass is full in our schools. Okay. All right, we're ready for the consent agenda, which is item 14.1. Items listed under the consent agenda are considered routine, will be approved or adopted by a single motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items. However, any item may be removed from the consent agenda upon the request of any member of the board and acted upon separately. And as a reminder, 14.8 was pulled, so items after 14.8 have been renumbered. Are there items that you would like to see pulled?
I'd like to pull 14.5. 14.5, please.
14.5. Is there a motion regarding the consent agenda?
I'll make a motion. We approve the agenda with the removal of 14.5.
Second.
So we have a motion by trustee Mason and a second by trustee McDougall regarding the consent agenda, with item 14.8 pulled by staff and 14.5 pulled by trustee Count. Trustee Ochoa, how do you vote?
Yes.
Thank you. Motion was trustee Mason, second by trustee McDougall. And Ms. Cound asked that 14.5 be pulled. So it'll take just a moment while 14.5 is pulled up. Ms. Cound, would you like to
Yeah.
address?
Yes, thank you. 14.5 was purchase of Do the Math Digital Resource Kit supplemental math materials. And since we're talking about math tonight, I just wanted to ask about this particular purchase and how it fits in with the overall math plan.
Absolutely. Good evening. I'm Megan Gertz, curriculum specialist. I've been up here a few times. So Do the Math is a curriculum that is specifically, it's very targeted, intervention focused. Pardon? Oh. So it's very strategic. So our intent is for summer school to have use data that we have from STAR, from iReady, from all of the assessments that we've given toward the end of the school year to identify what specific needs students have for summer, and then be able to implement whatever their need is. The way they Do the Math is set up in modules. So like if they need number sense, early number sense,
then that's what we would do for those students. Students that need fractions, they have a module that, well, 3 different levels of fractions. So we would be focused, it's very skill-based, hands-on. The digital component of it is for the teachers to be able to access it, but it's a very hands-on, inquiry-based, which is all aligned with the new framework. And it would really be focused on shoring up skills that students maybe are missing right now, so that then moving into their next grade level, they'd be ready to roll in whatever area they were missing skills in.
Awesome. Thank you. So it's for summer school,
Yes.
all the schools that have summer school
Yeah,
at that,
and then
for
the
that age
intent
group?
is, since we'll have the materials moving into the next school year, if there's, looking at some of our sites that have maybe significant needs and skills, I've talked with after school program, is it something we want to use there? In the school day, is it something that we want to use with specific grade levels around a specific, kind of depends what the school's goals are. So each school is building a math with their math ILT, building out what are their focuses going to be, or foci going to be. And so this can be a part of that. They could use these materials to support. Maybe they're working on just, first graders that are having trouble with number sense. So these materials can be used for that.
That sounds
so
great.
It's kind of a dual purpose.
Yeah.
Summer, and then we can use them during the school year as needed.
Great. And is it something that we've used in our schools before, or is it totally brand new?
Yeah, no, it's been
Or
around.
people are familiar. Okay. Great. Okay. With that, I would like to move to approve
Just
what
a
is
simple
now.
question
Oh,
before
go
you
ahead.
do. What grade levels does this incorporate? Is it K-12? Is it
It's K-5.
K to 5?
And like I
Okay.
said, it's more focused on what are the skills.
Mhm.
So it could be different grade levels. So like if I have students who are in 3rd grade, but they need support in a foundational skill that's, say, adding or subtracting, it's not necessarily, it has to be used in 3rd grade. It could be 3rd grade students working on a skill that they, whatever they need. Because it's not focused on grade level, it's focused on what is the content that they need support in. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. So with that, I move to approve item 15.1, purchase of Do the Math digital resource kit supplemental math materials.
Second.
So we have a motion by trustee Cound and a second by trustee Nzewi regarding the purchase of Do the Math digital and resource kit supplemental. Trustee Ochoa, how do you vote?
Yes.
Thank you.
And that item is adopted on a 5-0-0-0 vote with trustee Ochoa in support. Okay, so now we are moving on to the business items, 17.1. Trustee Dr. Clark.
Yes, so we have Kim Bayana is going to present this on behalf of our agreement with CSCA.
Good evening, Superintendent, Dr. Clark, Madam President, Board of Trustees. I'm honored to present to you tonight the tentative agreement between CSEA and the district for a new contract term from July 1, 2025 through June 30th, 2027. This agreement includes the settlement of salaries for the next 2 school years and the extension of the increase in health benefit contributions through December 2026. This agreement is a testament to the collaboration between the district and CSEA. I'd like to thank the members of the CSEA bargaining group and the members of the district's team and all CSEA employees for their support of this agreement. And with that, I leave this in the hands of the board.
Madam Chair, I move to approve the tentative agreement between California School Employees Association Chapter 43 and Mount Diablo Unified School District for the 2025 through 2027 collective bargaining agreement.
Second.
So we have a motion by trustee Mason with a second from trustee Cound regarding the collective bargaining agreement with CSEA. Further comments or discussion?
Just another thank you very much to CSEA team and district team for working collaboratively to come to this agreement. Much appreciated.
Yes, very much so. Trustee Ochoa, how do you vote?
Yes.
Thank you. Well, the collective bargaining agreement with CSEA, Chapter 2043, is adopted on a 5-0-0-0 vote with Trustee Ochoa in support. 17.2, Dr. Clark.
Yes, so tonight we bring before you, we want to review and potential approval of standards aligned mathematics materials for elementary and middle school mathematics instruction. And with that, we have Megan Gertz, we have Philios as backup, we have Samantha Allen as backup, and Megan is going to share not only our process, but also the recommendation. So Megan, take it away.
Thank you. Good evening. Thanks for having me tonight. So I'm going to just walk you through our process, kind of some of the things that our teachers have talked about, how they came to the decision that they came to in this math adoption. So this year we did K-8 math adoption, and one of the questions is, why are we doing this? What is the purpose? So four main things. California adopted a new framework in 2023. Highlights in that framework are that the standards are all the same. So it's not what we're teaching, it's how we're teaching it. So it's more focused, the new framework is more focused on inquiry-based instruction, about students doing a lot of the talking and a lot of the thinking. And so the materials that we looked at were shifted away from teachers standing and delivering content to students kind of wrestling with concepts, wrestling with ideas, a lot of things in context, real world situations, provide students more access to be able to then remember what they did, right? Because we remember what we do. So the new framework was one reason. Second reason, the instructional shifts, as I just mentioned in the framework, giving our teachers materials that then are aligned with that is going to help them be able to teach that way, right? So in the past few years, we've had our middle school, our third reason, our middle school adoption, just our 8-year cycle for middle school just ended. For elementary, we're in kind of an interesting situation because we had a bridge curriculum after the 2013 framework went into effect. So we used Engage New York with the expectation of the framework being adopted in 2018, which did not happen, as we know. And then something happened in 2020. And so things were postponed, and 2023 is when it was adopted. So elementary has been using Engage New York for a while, which is a high quality material, but people got tired, and that's not shame on teachers or anybody. It's just it was materials that we didn't totally have everything for, but people used it well. So those are our reasons behind it. The steps in our process. I'm not going to read all of these to you, but material we went through, surveys were sent to publishers who were going to have materials provided that were aligned with our California framework or a California specific material. We consulted with CCOE, our county office, with TNTP, because they do adoptions with other districts, so they have a lot of resources. Also, the state has how do you do an adoption and what are the tools you use. We looked at those as an internal team, looked at those resources and reviews, came up with our own tool. So our tool is based in all of the things that the state was requiring. In addition, things that we as Mount Diablo need to see in our materials. So our committee information was sent out to teachers. It was a voluntary committee. So the committee came together. We went through, they reviewed the materials that we as the central committee took all of the ones that some were not as great as others. We kind of took it down to ones that would be great and would work and are aligned to the framework. And those are the ones that we presented to the committee. And we gave them all the reasons why the others were not brought forward. So the committee was trained on the tool that was, again, aligned with the 4 criteria that the state has put forth. We had a public review twice, actually, where public could come and give comments. Those comments were shared with the committee. The committee was also was given training from each of the publisher. Well, they were given, it's not training, it's more of a sales pitch. But kind of what is their program from each of the publishers so they could learn more about each of them. And then they went and took a deep dive. So the tool that they used obviously looked at what are the standards, how are they presented to students? Are they in alignment with the framework? They went into how are the standards for mathematical practice applied in the curriculum? So are students given opportunities to think, to inquire, to are the problems in context of real world situations? Do students have an opportunity to talk? Are there language routines? Those kind of things. So the teachers did a review. They selected the 4 that we looked at all together. Starting were McGraw-Hill Reveal Math, Savas Experience Math, and Imagine Learning Illustrative Math. Both elementary and middle looked at them. Elementary also looked at Bridges, and middle school looked at Desmos. So they each looked at 4. So as we went through the process and the review, there was discussion all along about all 4 and kind of the benefits and things that teachers saw that they may struggle with. We had Bridges is not going to have a California specific curriculum, but they are aligned with the California framework. So there was a lot of discussion around Bridges because there's a lot of interest in the community for Bridges, and also we had teachers that we had 2 sites that were using it. So there was a lot of discussion around how could this work? What do you like about it? The teachers who are using it were very open with sharing. This is what I really liked. Here were the things that were difficult. Some of the things that were some of the things that they liked about it, also acknowledging that it took probably 2 or 3 years of intensive training to get to that point. There were a lot of materials. It's very inquiry based and hands-on, which is what we're looking for. But teachers on the committee had concern about, is there too many materials and how would we manage all the materials? And then also support for multilingual students and students with significant needs. Like, is there enough support? And they felt in looking through what was provided that there may not be enough support. So that was one of the reasons that we didn't move forward with Bridges. And I know that was one of the things that we had community members who had questions about that one. People came in, gave comments. All of those comments went to the committee. They read through all of them. So we looked at all of the data. The committee selected 2 to pilot. So elementary piloted Experience Math and Reveal, and middle school piloted, elementary piloted McGraw, Reveal, and Savas Experience Math. Middle school piloted Imagine Learning Illustrative Math and McGraw. So we had, in looking at what they were piloting, we had an opportunity for a K-8 adoption. And before we had looked at voting or what they felt would support best, we did have a meeting with everybody, and we put our vertical spaces up around the room, and I think I put a picture in there, and had them have a discussion, K-8, about what were they looking for in the materials. And it was very interesting because the things that they saw in both, and curriculum agnostic at that point, the things that they saw that they really enjoyed or needed it was K-8. We need to have tasks. We need to have language routines. We need to have support for multilingual students. So regardless of how many, which way they were feeling about the different specific curriculum, it was interesting the conversations they had, and it was great to get them together. So I went through this part. So the committee members, we collected all the data. We presented the data back to the committee. Here's what you all said. We shared their comments, the raw data. There were lots of comments. We did student surveys. So we shared the student feedback with them as well. And committee got together and discussed, came up with the 2 that they were going to pilot. And ultimately the one that they decided on, and I'll share that in a second. These were the members of the committee. It was open to anybody at schools. Teachers have a lot on their plates right now, as we know. And so it was a voluntary thing. Yes, we gave them subs to come be a part of it. But we have every feeder pattern represented. We don't have somebody from every single school or every single job description. It's just who was available and willing to come out and be a part of it. That said, every single student we had them in our mind as we went through this process, because the tool that we used was looking at all different kinds of learners, all different kinds of needs, and are there supports for those kinds of students. So the tool itself helped us be representative of everybody, not just I work at whatever school and I'm supporting only those students. So these are our elementary folks and our middle school teachers that were a part of the process. And so once we went through, there was lots of discussion toward the end, how do you feel? Which one we did a lot of like pros and cons, and if there was a need or a lack in one program, how could we fill that need? So instead of just like, if we don't like something, what is a way that we could fill that need? Who would fill that need? So whichever one was selected, we would have a list of here's how we could fill the needs. So once they did their voting for elementary, it was almost unanimous to select McGraw-Hill Reveal Math as the math program. And I thought the number of years of teaching experience, I like data. It was just a very interesting, I asked the question just because I was curious, because I knew a lot of them had been on the math committee we did like many, many, many moons ago. And sure enough, they were, because they've been here 20 years. So anyway, this is an 8-year adoption, so they will hopefully, some of them will be able to do it again. And then their rationale for the decision, and it's similar for elementary and middle. They have both levels during the discussion mentioned parental support. They have letters that can go out for every single unit. What are the topics that are covered? What are the standards that are covered? The vocabulary support and the math language routines, both levels acknowledged as a big support, that it aligns with the work we're doing with the math ILTs and learning acceleration. There are tasks embedded in the program. So that was something that both elementary and middle called out. And that it starts, every lesson is started with an inquiry, some sort of inquiry, whether it's a picture and they have a discussion about it, or it's a problem and they have a discussion. It's a notice and wonder. So both levels actually called that out. And then middle school, this was their product recommendation. And then again, years of teaching experience, that was just my interest in kind of who's on the team and give you an idea of, we have a lot of experienced folks. So the middle school, their recommendation is based in similar things, many opportunities for students to talk. And that was a comment we heard over and over. My most quiet student was discussing with people, was sharing their math, was sharing how they solve something. And so that was great to hear. The digital platform and teacher usability was big with this in both levels, actually. Their platform is very user-friendly. They're familiar sort of with it because it's we use other products of theirs. So they've seen it before. And the delivery timeline. So it's a new product. And so year one, we're going to get materials by June 30th. We'll have all the English materials. And we will have everything by the time school starts. My goal in the next couple of weeks is to get digital access set up for teachers so that if they want to go in and look, they can. I've had questions about that already. And since it's a new product, sometimes year one, you get something, there's like, oh, there's a typo, or oh, there's something in it. So we'll get a new, if there's a typo, if there's something that needs to be adjusted, they'll send us free ones for year two. The student edition is a work text. So as they update every year, it's going to be coming to us new anyway. That's just how things are rolling these days with publishers. So that will be updated each year anyway. And this is the program cost. So again, it's an 8-year adoption, digital print, manipulative kits, all of the accessories that come, differentiation books, those kinds of things will all come with it, along with professional development. So we've built in this year, specifically professional development, but then ongoing for the next number of years. We'll have sessions for new teachers and for ongoing for our own staff that have already been trained. And then next year will be high school. So I will see you again. And again, same reason, high school is just, our Big Ideas adoption is up this year. So we'll be extending it for a year so that we can look at new materials. And I believe that is the end. If you all have any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
And,
I've got a pen.
we did receive one community comment about the special education format. Are there materials, or are teachers comfortable with the product that they will be able to serve our special education students well?
Yes, so they have, every lesson has they have anticipated student responses. And what if if this is something student says, here could be the misconception. They also have different levels of like, this is how you could take this and level it in a different way. So scaffolding, all the scaffolds they give them options for what you could do to scaffold for students who need more support. And so each lesson has a huge number of resources actually. And then there's a whole separate book that has other things too.
And is there an access or tool for parents as well to support their children in the home?
So there's letters that they have for each that the teacher can send. And I believe they have like an online, the portal that's a parent portal. It was I haven't seen it because it was they were just developing it. But it's supposed to have all the, it's essentially what the letter has, but it's in a digital format.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. Yes, and translatable.
And I'm sorry I didn't offer questions to all of you first. All right.
Okay. I just had kind of one question. As this whole process was going through, I was just looking in general at our math scores being as low as they are, not only our district, but statewide. It feels like we need to do some dramatically different things to change that, right? And so, so I love and want to appreciate the way that you were looking at this from the new math framework and that kind of inquiry-based learning and the types of engagement that we're talking about. Because I think though we have many teachers who've been trying to teach in that way, they didn't really have the materials to support it. And what I'm hearing is a lot of excitement about this new adoption and having those kind of materials. So that's really exciting. So thank you. But as we go forward, one of the things I heard you say was for any math adoption, there will be some things that this curriculum doesn't cover. And so I guess my question is, how will we go about filling those? Like what kind of things will we provide for intervention and support? And if teachers in various parts of our school district have something that's really working for a particular thing, can they share that with you and then see if that's something that could be a supplemental piece? Or how is that going to work for intervention?
Yeah, we're kind of, Christine and I have had many conversations about this, and it's hard. You have absolutely, that's a great question, because as we go through this the first year, teaching these new materials the first year, we don't know necessarily. I mean, no curriculum is perfect, right?
Yeah.
We don't know exactly where the gaps are going to be. So our goal this first year especially is to teach with fidelity. What does it look like the first year? And then be able to identify, okay, here's a need at this grade level or at this grade level. We need to do, I don't know what it could be. It could be anything, what is the best resource to fill that need? Is it a, I don't know. Is it a different manipulative? Is it a, a digital thing? Is it whatever? We aren't going to know what it is until we've actually taught the materials once. So, and potentially more than once. So, our mantra through this process has been, we need to try with fidelity what we have in a coherent manner. And that's been one thing we haven't done in a long time, is everybody's using it. We're all going to use these materials, and then we'll figure out if there's a gap, then maybe we need to find something else to fill it. And usually that would come through us, and we would figure out, if somebody has need or an idea of what could work, then absolutely we're all ears.
Then they should come talk to you. Okay, sounds good. Because I know like so this has been a conversation. Our math adoption has been a conversation for at least 10 years, right? So my now junior was in elementary school when we were talking about math adoptions and thinking that it was coming soon. So it's been a while. So back then and also, the world has changed in so many different ways in those years. And so when, for example, students were needing to just get sort of more automated with some of their tasks. Like if you can learn your multiplication tables, it's going to make everything a lot faster, right? And we do want students, of course, to understand the meaning behind multiplication and what that is, but at some point, just some basic practice. And so back then they had the tall T's where you had to like do this timed test, and it was like stressing kids out. It was not a great model. But I think since then, there are other ways where kids can practice in a more fun way, like a gamified way, their multiplication, tables and stuff like that. So that's just one example of what I'm thinking of. Like if that something like that might not come in a standard curriculum, but it would be an additional piece. Yeah.
And those we've had that conversation has come up during this adoption process as well. And one of the things that we kept telling them is, okay, let's use it first and see what the needs are. But we also want to have something that has data behind it that shows that it works, not that it's something that I've always used and I like it.
Yes.
Because we all have our things that
Yeah.
we like doing or we're used to doing
Yeah.
that may or may not, we don't know necessarily unless we have data to show that it works.
And even the fluency is an example of a place where there's been a shift in the framework. So
Can you go to
away
the
from,
microphone? Sorry.
sorry, away from automaticity and more to conceptual understanding. So again, we were just talking about this today. If you understand that multiplication is really adding a group of numbers over and over, you can eventually get to that answer. We want kids to not struggle for hours with that. But on the other hand, if they have a strong conceptual understanding, they can approach any problem in that way with multiple ways of solving. So it is that balance between really shoring up their number sense, right? And then figuring out if they just need some more repetitive practice or not, without relying on the repetitive practice to substitute for the foundational, the conceptual understanding.
Yeah.
So I think to Megan's point, it's like once we are able to teach with fidelity, and now it's exciting to be able to do this K-8, we'll have a better understanding if we do need something to fill gaps. And that might look like something like the Do the Math that you approved earlier. That might be an example of something where we could use more of a teacher-led type of module activity to help with that.
Right. This is a continuous discussion. So I love the fact that you're engaging math teachers from all over the district. So thank you.
So initiating a new curriculum at one level is a big lift, but lifting it at two levels is going to be even more astounding. How are you planning on implementing all of the professional development that's going to need to go with this?
So we have our, so I've been working with the multilingual department and their TOSAs, our TOSA team. We also will have support from the publisher. And also, I mean, the work that we've done with TNTP for the past 3-4 years is all in preparation for this actually having materials that support what we're doing. So I think it's going to be exciting because the teachers will have materials that then it will make the actual practice of it a lot easier. But the training piece of it, we will have support from the publisher for the actual, the nuts and bolts of the materials. But one piece that we're going to really lean in with is making sure that we are guiding what does that look like. We want to make sure it's within the lens of what the focus on the framework, and have the materials support what we've been doing in the trainings that the teachers have been receiving, so that we are in support of the framework. We have materials that support that now. It's going to support student learning, and students will be thinking in math and talking about.
I know you will be including the instructional leaders, the principals and vice principals at the school sites in this process.
I'm hoping, we'll be doing a training for them, hopefully before school starts. And I haven't talked to the publisher about what that looks like, but yes, for sure.
I want to applaud you for bringing together the elementary school and the middle school's math teachers to have the discussions that you have had, because the transition between elementary and between middle and high school are so important, especially if the process or the instructional methods have been different. And I just think it's incredible that you've been able to do that. And I want to really encouraging you to do it between the middle and the high school teachers, and maybe even throw in a few elementary school teachers too that are passionate about this work. And I want to applaud our veteran math teachers who participated in this pilot, as well as the newer math teachers. They are the ones that have seen what has worked, and they may have been the hardest people to move between the different, from their favorite to something that's a little bit different, because they see the value of what everybody wants to achieve. So you've done some great work in bringing everybody together. Thank you.
Yeah, and our pending tonight's vote, we are also in our math ILT meeting in May. The plan is, again, pending the vote, to discuss what does rollout look like at the school site. So they will have time. We will give them a little bit of insight on what their curriculum looks like, how it's going to work, so that then they can be prepared to also lead it at their site as well. So, or at least be an advocate. So.
Yeah, one of the things that I learned over the course of this process, as I was looking at the materials, that you had to view, because I'm always hoping to do something big and different, right? So I was like, what about the UC Davis C-STEM, like where they combine robotics and math in a course? Like they have, I was looking at it in middle school, but I think they actually have it for all grade levels. In my conversations with teachers and with leaders, that is just not feasible to do district wide at a moment like this. And so I understand that a little bit better now. But what I'm hoping is that this becomes the base for what we have across the district, and we get it done with fidelity all the way across the district. But then in the ensuing years after that, in a place like if we have, our Sun Terrace, the STEM magnet school if they want to try something different, I hope that we're still open to that, and then we don't see this as like the beginning and the end of the discussion, but I understand that some of the more completely different types of things have to be done on a smaller scale. They can't be a full district wide adoption. So,
well, so we can get there, I'll move to approve the standards aligned mathematics materials for elementary and middle school mathematics instruction.
And I will second that.
Go there, Trustee Mason. Thank you.
I saw everybody jumping here at the microphones. So we have a motion from Trustee Mason with a second from Trustee Cound regarding the approval of the standards aligned mathematics material for elementary and middle school math. Trustee Ochoa.
Yes.
Ready to take another math class? And that item is adopted on a 5-0-0-0 vote. Thank you very much to you and all of the committee members. 17.3, we have some board policies that were presented at the last meeting, or the April 16th meeting. Are you ready to make a motion regarding that?
I move to approve the revisions made to AR 3516 as presented.
Second that.
We have a motion by Trustee Nzewi, a second by Trustee Mason regarding AR 3516 and its amendments. Further discussion? Trustee Ochoa?
Yes.
And the amendments to AR 3516 have been adopted as presented. That was item 17.3 and that was a 5-0-0-0 vote. 17.4, Um, There are several policies here that we reviewed at the last meeting. Is there a motion?
I make a motion to approve revisions to BP 5147, AR 3517, AR 5144.2, and E 3517 as presented.
Second.
We have a motion by trustee Mason with a second by trustee McDougall on BP 5147, AR 3517, AR 5144.2, and E 3517. Further discussion?
Yes,
Trustee-
I just want to point out, because I like to always point this out, I think it's fantastic that the state requires us to do this. But E 3517, just for the public's knowledge, requires us to maintain and supply an adequate supply of menstrual products available and accessible, free of cost, for now grades 3 through 12 inclusive, as well as to post a sign saying that we are supposed to be doing that. So just so that everyone's aware, we expect all of our schools to be complying. Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Ochoa?
Yes.
Thank you. And item 17.4 is adopted on a 5-0-0-0 vote with trustee Ochoa in support. Item 17.5. Is that where we are? Yes. There are several items here that were presented at the last meeting.
I move to approve the revisions to BP 0460, BP 3280, AR 0460, and AR 3280 as presented.
Second.
So we have a motion by trustee Nzewi with a second by trustee Kaum to approve the revisions to board policy 0460, BP 3280, AR 460, and AR 3280. Further discussion? Trustee Ochoa, how do you vote?
Yes.
Thank you. And item 17.5 is adopted on a 5-0-0-0 vote with trustee Ochoa in support. 17.6, we have several board policies here that were presented on April 16th.
I move to approve revisions to BP 3311, BP 3311.1, AR 3311.1, and AR 3311.1 as presented.
Is that a typo on the fourth one?
Oh, yeah, there's two. I think it was just BP 3311.1 and AR 3311.1. That's what it should be.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch this sooner.
It was just twice and accidentally.
The attachments are both 3311 and also 3311.1.
Right.
Each of those, the
So
BP and the AR.
BP 3311 and AR 3311 and BP 3311.1 and AR 3311.1 is the motion as presented.
And the second?
Second.
So we have a motion by trustee Nzewi with a second by trustee Mason in the adoption of board policy 3311. AR 3311.1, board policy, shouldn't it be 33? Let's see. That still isn't right. Would you?
So- One of the BPs should be 3311.1 and one of the ARs should be 3311. or like two 3311s, two 3311.1s, one
So
each
it's-
of BP and AR. Yeah.
Now it is correct. Thank you very much for the correction. Is it right?
Right. So there should be two BPs, BP 3311 and BP 3311.1, and then AR 3311 and AR 3311.1. So change one of the ARs to a BP and one of the, and take off a one off of it.
That's correct.
That is correct.
Thank you, tech support.
All right. We have the motion by trustee Nzewi and the second by trustee Mason. Trustee Ochoa, how do you vote?
Yes.
The motion to adopt the board policies and ARs is adopted on a 5-0-0-0 vote. And that was item 17.6. We don't need a meeting extension or closed session carryover. Would you, do you have any future agenda items, 21.1, that you would like to have considered? Thank you for the presentations today that were requested earlier, Dr. Clark. With that, I'll adjourn the meeting at 9:24 p.m. Thank you.